like to call the meeting to order. Roll call.
President Byrne?
Here.
Trustee Hebda? Here. Trustee Schultz?
Here.
Trustee Markwart?
Here.
Trustee Cook?
Here.
Trustee Oppenheim?
Here.
Trustee Takaoka?
Here.
We have a quorum present. Would everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Are there any citizens that wish to address the board on anything other than what's on committee of the whole? Because if it's on committee of the whole, then you'll be recognized. Okay. With that said, okay, first proclamation, recognizing Joey Perlman, Mrs. Vernon Hills. Joey, you want to come up here and? Ooh. Okay. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Okay. All right. That's that. I think I got something framed here. Is that it, Tim? Take a look. Is that it?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Okay. All right. This is a proclamation recognizing Joey Perlman, Mrs. Vernon Hills. On April 15th, 2017, Joey Perlman, Mrs. Vernon Hills, was crowned first runner-up in the Mrs. Illinois America pageant at Hemmons Cultural Center in Elgin, Illinois. Joey is a resident of Vernon Hills, wife and mother of three, who is dedicated to service work in the community. Over the years, she has donated thousands of hours, both with her family and alone, to numerous organizations, which include Bernie's Book Bank, Israel Adonijah, I think I'm saying that right, Foundation, Together We Succeed, American Heart Association, and Girl Scouts. And although her heart lies with advocating for homeless women and children and helping them, those overcoming and dealing with their drug addiction, she has also given her time to organizations that help children with special needs, the veterans and domestic violence, which include the Miss Amazing Special Needs pageant, Families Helping Families Chicagoland, Lake County Haven for women, and Polar Plunge for Special Olympics. You actually do that
I did do that, yes,
recently?
last year, February.
Wow. Okay. Oh, God bless you.
And I should tell you, my husband and my daughter did it with me as well, so.
Yeah. Was it a cold January day?
It was February, and it wasn't super cold outside, but the lake was 34 degrees.
That's cold.
That'll get your attention.
It will.
That'll
It'll
certainly
get
wake
blood
you up,
flowing.
you know.
It'll get your blood flowing.
Okay. Raised by a single mother who was addicted to drugs, Joey knows what it was like to not have a roof over her head or know where her next meal would come from. Surviving her past inspired her to motivate others to make smart choices in life and empower them to be the best that they can be. Yeah, there's another page. Okay. Joey empathized with individuals who were self-conscious or had low self-esteem, which led her to create the platform, Love the Skin You're In. Joey's a certified public speaker and talks with groups as well as privately with individuals on the importance of loving yourself, accepting who you are and others, and never giving up. Now therefore it be proclaimed that I, Roger L. Byrne, President, and the Village Board of Trustees do hereby express our sincerest appreciation to Joey Perlman for her dedicated service to the Vernon Hills community. Further, we congratulate her on her first runner-up placement at the Mrs. Illinois American pageant and being named Mrs. Great Lakes Galaxy 2017.
Thank you.
So, congratulations. Okay, you want to take a here? All right, congratulations. Okay. Did you get a picture? Or?
Not yet.
No?
I'm not a good photographer, so I'll do my best.
You a relation? Wait, is it a son? Oh, son? Is it?
Son? No.
Oh. Well, I don't know the husband. Well, I took my
Put your glasses on.
I took my glasses off.
I'm a lucky man who's married to her.
Hey, let me put it. Okay.
Although I did jump in the 34-degree water.
Okay. Oh yeah. Now I see that's not your son. Okay. Yeah, I gotta retract that last comment. Okay. Okay. All right. Proclamation recognition of Dr. Jerry Weber, President of the College of Lake County. Who's here or not here? Not here? Okay. Tom, you're a trustee, aren't you? Or on-
Well, that was,
do you
I asked that this be on the agenda tonight so that I could take it a week from Thursday. They're having a reception at the South Lake campus because Dr. Weber is moving on to another school, and he's been so involved with the College of Lake County for a number of years now, and especially involved in the expansion and upgrading of our South Lake campus here in town, including the new chemistry building and all that there. So I asked that we had this put on the agenda so that we could pass the resolution, and bring it to him. And
Well, why don't you do your proclamation?
and I will. I can, and I will take this to him a week
Oh,
from
we'll read it
Thursday.
into the record.
Dr. Jerry Weber assumed the position of the president of the College of Lake County in April of 2009 after having served as president of Kankakee Community College. Dr. Weber has previously served on state and national boards and councils for community colleges related to international education, technology, administration, and educational policy. He has spent his career in Illinois community colleges and is known for building collaborations, most recently bringing workforce boards, and community colleges in the Chicago area together. Under Dr. Weber's tenure, the College of Lake County has earned national awards in diversity, sustainability, and international education, among others. He led the college to develop both a comprehensive strategic plan and a sustainable campus master plan, resulting in the new and updated facilities. He has successfully guided the South Lake campus through the construction of a chemistry building. By implementing these plans and a variety of student success initiatives, CLC is known as a leader among community colleges nationwide. Dr. Weber has accepted an offer to become the president of Bellevue College in Washington, where he expects to begin his new position in July. Now therefore be it proclaimed that Roger L. Byrne, the Village Board of Trustees, do hereby express our appreciation for his years of service to the College of Lake County and wish Dr. Weber great success in his new position as president of Bellevue College.
Okay.
All right, and
You'll give it to
yes,
him?
I will make sure he gets this. And it really has the campus down here, if you've never been here, is expanding. The college itself is expanding, and I can say, quite frankly, as an alumnus, I would probably not have had the success in my life if it hadn't been for a community college in that. I went back to school there, and then, as they say, the rest is history. But if it hadn't been for such a great community college as CLC, and, I wouldn't have, probably would have had a much more different life. And it constantly is doing that. My grandson attends there now, and it's been just a great thing for the county itself and a great addition to our community here, so.
Yeah, no question about it. Okay, next is a proclamation, National Public Works Week, May 21st to May 27th. There weren't too many proclamations here. Okay, Public Works Week proclamation, 2017 National Public Works Week celebrates the vital role Public Works plays in connecting us all together. Is that true so far, Dave?
Yes, sir.
Okay. As the cornerstone of civilization, Public Works provides maintenance and improvements, the structures and services that assure a high quality of life for our communities. Its streets, roads, together from coast to coast, and its clean water and sanitation services keep us healthy and allow our communities to grow and prosper. Public works services provide in our community are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives. The support of an understanding and informed citizenry is vital to the effective operation of public works systems and programs such as water, sewers, streets, highways, public buildings, solid waste collection, and snow removal. How did the chemical waste collection go this weekend? Well, didn't we have it up here? Yeah.
Yeah, we had a really big turnout for that.
Yeah, okay. That's, your employees were up there.
My employees were there, Swalco was there, a big event.
Okay, good. All right, the quality and effectiveness of these facilities as well as their planning, design, and construction is vitally dependent upon the efforts and skill of public works officials. The efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff public works departments is materially influenced by the people's attitude and understanding of the importance of the work they perform. Second page. Therefore, I, Roger Byrne, President of Village of Vernon Hills, do hereby proclaim the week of May 21st through May 27th, 2017 as National Public Works Week. Public Works connects us in the Village of Vernon Hills, and I call upon all citizens and civic organizations to acquaint themselves with the problems involved in providing our public works and to recognize the contribution which public works officials make every day to our health, safety, comfort, and quality of life. Signed, Roger L. Byrne. Dave, you want to say something because you're kind of the head of Public Works and Village Engineering.
Well, I appreciate the recognition. I will pass that along to my staff. We try to do things very stealth and behind the scenes. When we're not recognized, that's usually a good thing.
Well, I think people recognize you, and they know how good a job you do in your department.
I appreciate that. I'll pass.
What do you think, Chief?
Absolutely.
Okay. I just wanted you to have a talking part tonight.
Not if I can help it.
Okay. Oh, excuse me. All right. All right, next, Village Manager Communication Services Agreement.
Thank you, Your Honor. Coming out of the 2016 Community Survey, we recognized the need to expand our communications and our village-related communications base for the residents. It was also identified that we needed to expand the information that was provided to the community with regards to the senior center, its group, and its activities that are provided as a part of that center. As you know, currently we have multiple channels that we use for communicating to our residents, including a weekly, what we call the blast email, or an email that goes out to about 2,200 addresses. We also use our website and Facebook pages both for Village Hall and for the police department. We post agendas on our websites, and we videotape our meetings that are posted on our own YouTube channel. Again, you can find those on our website. We are also, in fact, this was the first meeting we posted the complete village board packet, and we'll be posting commission packets on the website from going forward. And then finally, as you know, we also do a monthly cable update show on Channel 4. We get very high ratings in the community, and we highly recommend that you all watch that when you get a chance. During this time, we've used Lynn Brandel of Brandel Communications for the cable TV programming. She works with Mike Storto, who's our cable coordinator, and she's been a fixture with regards to Channel 4 for years, doing a great job, both working with the staff and then also out in the community with businesses, the Park District, and the like, to provide programming on Channel 4 and expose residents to the various activities that we do. For instance, she does an annual snow plowing video with Dave and his team, Mark with National Night Out, and the like. So really has done a great job for us. And what we're suggesting here in this, as a part of this discussion, is that Lynn's role be expanded and she be used to expand our communication efforts and assist the staff with this task. In your packet is a communication services agreement. that kind of lays out where we're proposing to go with our communication efforts. The agreement provides that Lynn will be responsible for working with the staff and the board to accomplish a number of tasks, including continuing on with her efforts with the Channel 4 programming and working with the cable coordinator. We're going to look at publishing a monthly electronic newsletter. As you know, back in 2007, 2008, due to budget cuts, we ended the paper copies of the newsletter. Lynn was doing those newsletters at that time, so she's very familiar with the Village Voice, as we called it back then. So that name may be resurrected as we go forward. But she's a resident in town. She knows a lot about the community, and I think will provide a great service with regards to this electronic newsletter. We'll also look at doing weekly news roundups that we can share with our various media outlets, Daily Herald, Vernon Hills Review, the Tribune, et cetera. Creating more posts for the website, working with staff to enhance our blast email output. One of the things to go along with that is we're considering sending out a postcard mailer to approximately 10,000 households here in town to try to encourage them to sign up for the blast email. So if you're watching us home tonight, please sign up. It's a great way to get communication from us. I mean, when we get it, we send it out. So you could get 1, 2, 3 of those a week, depending on what's come before us. So, and then also assisting with some of the coordination of the publicity activities related to some of the village events, 4th of July, Oktoberfest, Summer Celebration, some of the board activities, Dave's programs and the like. So. The agreement calls for Lynn to work about 25 to 30 hours a month. We think that's a good start. The budget that was included in the FY 17-18 budget was $30,000 for the communication efforts, with an additional $5,500 that goes to the cable TV programming that she has done annually for years. So, as a part of the omnibus portion of your agenda, you'll find Ordinance 2017-70. That is the approval of the Communication Services Agreement and authorizes the execution of that agreement with Lynn Brandel of Brandel Communication. So,
And then she would still remain a 1099 employee?
absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Yeah, I don't, it's, well, we would call her.
yes.
You gotta come in and interview somebody or
Right.
tape something.
Right.
Yeah, no, she's done an excellent job, so, yeah.
Lynn's here tonight if you had any questions or.
Where?
Or you
Oh,
just
there
want
she is.
to wave
Oh,
at
okay.
the.
All right. Do you want to say anything, or? Hi,
come up here.
other than hi?
Other than hi. I'm Lynn Brandel, and I appreciate the opportunity to work more on behalf of the village. I've worked for other entities in town. I tend to work for not-for-profits, but Vernon Hills is close to my heart. And I appreciate the opportunity to help staff who's already doing a wonderful job. They've got a lot of wonderful things in place, and the idea is just to make everything pull together and make sure everybody knows what's going on everywhere. So thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, you were kind of a victim of the Great Recession.
Well, right, but, and if you remember, back even before me, I think you had a full-time communication person, and
Oh,
after
my
all the
God,
interviews,
I
remember
remember
that?
it vividly.
Right, and then,
Oh,
okay.
don't go
okay.
there, please.
But then I came in and said, I think we can do this as like really part-time. So that's my idea. It's always not very many billable hours for you, but get the work done. So that's how, when I came in years and years ago, that's what I thought could work, and I think it worked.
Yeah, okay, well, yeah, so this is, we'll vote on this.
It's on the omnibus.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Lynn.
Thanks, Lynn.
Thank you.
Okay, next is the chief's got a emergency siren replacement.
For the finance.
Go. Oh my, oh yeah, that's right, there's a bond we have
$20
to
million bond
take
issue.
care of, okay. I just wanted to bump you down to last,
Save the best for last.
Okay,
right?
go ahead.
Save the chief for last. Okay, at each of your places this evening is a revised bond ordinance and the results of our bond sale from this morning. This is a revised copy of ordinance 2017-065, which provides for an issuance of $20,190,000 of taxable obligation bonds for the purposes of refinancing redevelopment costs within the Milwaukee Avenue Town Line Road Tax Increment Financing District, which is commonly known as the Melody Farm Project. Pursuant to the redevelopment agreement with Melody Farm LLC, the village board authorized the provision of financial assistance to develop the northeast corner of Town Line and Milwaukee Roads. As part of this agreement, the village agreed to provide $18 million in assistance to the developer through the issuance of general obligation bonds, which will reimburse a portion of public improvements and land costs. This funding is contingent on a series of 19 funding conditions, all of which have been met. Based on the agreement, the village is now required to provide its portion of the project funding within 75 days, which will fall on or about July 16, 2017. The village has elected to issue general obligation bonds, which is a financing tool issued by municipalities to borrow at a lower interest rate. With a general obligation bond, it is set up so that it will pledge the village's full faith and credit, which essentially means that the bonds are structured so that they generate an automatic property tax levy. As the village board's aware, the village does not levy a property tax, nor do we plan on doing so. Every year, the village abates and cancels the property tax levy on all of the village's outstanding bond issues. The payments on the bonds are then paid in full from general fund or TIF increment revenues. This practice is common among municipalities to obtain the most advantageous interest rate, and can be compared to obtaining a secured loan as opposed to obtaining an unsecured loan. The village will continue to abate all of our property tax levies associated with general obligation bonds, including those before you this evening. The village's financial advisors, Kevin McKenna and Mark Gerantina, if you could just wave, are in the audience this evening, if you have any questions of them. They held an auction this morning for taxable general obligation bonds, meaning that the individuals that purchase these bonds must include any interest income that they receive from them in their taxable income. As the board will recall, the decision to issue taxable bonds was made based on IRS regulations. A copy of the bond sale results are also in front of you. These have been placed at each of your seats. In total, 16 bids were received from 6 different financial institutions. I'm pleased to report that the village has obtained a true interest cost of 3.5%. from Robert Baird and Company. This is nearly 1% less than what we were originally projecting. Based on the revised interest rate, the village will save approximately $1.7 million in interest costs over the life of the loan. Also included on the omnibus agenda is a resolution authorizing the creation of a specific bank account in which the bond proceeds will be deposited. This bank account is required to be created to accurately track the receipt of bond proceeds and allow for the disbursement of funds to the developer pursuant to the RDA. And I'm happy to answer any questions at this time, or if you have any questions for Spear.
Does staff want to comment on anything here? No? Okay. The reason that this went with a taxable issue was because of I think, the guarantee that we would get paid back. It's not, like a regular TIF bond. It's non-taxable, and, there's not necessarily a guarantee that the developer will pay you back. And we went down that road with the TIF district at 45 and 21, having done that for the first time. So this time, I think we're happier with any problem that comes up, that we will get our money back. That's all I'm going to say. So, okay, we're not voting on this yet.
We are actually
You
seeking
want to do it
a
right
vote
now?
of the
Oh,
board.
okay. All right, well, is there a motion to approve per multiple statements by Nikki Larson, our finance director?
Motion to approve ordinance 2017-065.
Second.
Motion is second. Roll call.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
No.
Trustee Oppenheim?
Aye.
Trustee Takaoka?
Aye.
Trustee Hebda?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Motion carries. Were you going to leave, Kevin? Okay.
Question.
We have a question from
I
trustee
just
Cook.
wondered, if one of the triggers was a 50% lease threshold. I was just wondering if there were any names you could share with us, or?
Nothing new that hasn't already been reported in the press and
Okay.
on the website.
Okay.
The big four are still the ones that are out there, and a couple of small shop tenants are also on the website as well.
That way they can hear you at
Yeah.
home. And why don't you
Yeah.
say the four names just one more time?
Whole Foods, Home Goods, REI, and Nordstrom Rack.
Is it Home Goods Target?
No, they're owned by TJ Maxx.
Huh?
They're owned by TJ Maxx. Can I answer?
You do know what I'm talking about.
Target?
No,
Target.
Target.
Yeah,
No,
Target, yeah.
They're TJ Maxx, so.
TJ
That's
is
great.
different than Target.
That's who owns Target?
No.
No, TJ Maxx.
What did we, wait a second. Maybe you didn't hear this, but him and I had a conversation germane to the fact that there's other people interested in in Whole Foods. Okay?
Well, yeah, that's,
Oh,
Oh,
correct.
TJ Maxx was who?
Home Goods. You asked the
Oh,
question.
no,
Target
I'm
and
sorry.
Home Goods.
I'm
Nothing to do
going to, I was away, okay. This is regarding Whole Foods and, where they're gonna wind up.
Yeah, there's a lot of speculation, and I'm certainly not qualified to comment on such a thing, but we feel very, very confident and spoke with all their executives prior to the purchase of the property, as well as undergoing, the $100+ million investment, and feel very confident that everyone's going to perform as they said they would and are obligated to under our lease contractual terms.
Okay?
Thank you all very much.
All right.
Looking forward to getting it open.
Take care. Okay. Yeah, Home Goods, yeah, okay. Oh, well, I learned something. Home Goods is TJ Maxx. Wow. That's not what I was concerned about. Okay.
I'm going to have to depart.
Okay.
It's open house at the middle school, and since it's my last one, I'm going. So.
Okay, well, you can go. Okay. Who else did we lose?
No. Steve.
Oh, Grandma? Yeah. Grandma's on the phone, huh? Okay. All right, now the chief.
Now, this project was spearheaded by Deputy Chief Davies, and I was originally going to present this for him, but he had to be here tonight for a compliance hearing, so I asked him if he would mind sticking around a little bit longer and present this, since he is much more up to date on the information than I am.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, trustees. So basically, the village's early warning siren system consists of 5 Wayland warning sirens. In addition, there are numerous sirens in the area operated by villages of Libertyville, Lincolnshire, Mundelein, and the Countryside Fire Protection District that can be heard within our area that overlap our current siren outreach. The current sites for the Vernon Hills warning sirens are as follows. One is located at Rust-Oleum off of Hawthorne Parkway. One is located at Oakwood by Carl Hartman Park. One is located at Route 45 and Fairway Drive. One is located at the Lake County Water Treatment Plant, which is right next to the Vernon Hills High School. If you look at the map that's shown up here, the ones in black are the Vernon Hills sites. The blue are Libertyville. The orange are Countryside. Some are just barely touching. And the green is Mundelein siren sites. The last siren is located in the Greg's Landing area off the railroad tracks right by the White Deer Run Golf Maintenance Garage. The sirens, the Rust-Oleum siren was put in 1989, the Oakwood siren at the same time, the Route 45 between 1992 and 1994, the water treatment plant siren was in 1998, which is our newest siren, and then the Greg's Landing was also in 1998. Both the Greg's Landing and the water treatment plant are the same type of siren. They're all Wayland sirens, just a couple of different model numbers. So on May 2nd of this year, we activated our siren test on our Tuesdays, and 2 of our sirens failed. The repair service maintainer, JS Communications, was out, checked the sirens that failed, and 1 was located at the Rust-Oleum, 1 was located at the Greg's Landing site. After evaluation of the sirens, it was determined that both sirens have significant equipment failures due to age and exposure to weather conditions. And obviously, as you can see by their ages, the Rust-Oleum's 28 years, and then the Greg's Landing is 19 years. The Rust-Oleum siren was installed, as I said, in 1989. It has several components that are failing: tone generator, amplifiers, control board, and a charging unit. Now, the charging unit was the easiest piece that they tried to replace. Unfortunately, when they tried to hook it up, we started blowing fuses on the siren. Attempts to replace some of these components that were available failed. Other equipment components are no longer being manufactured and can't be found on the open market, again, because of the vintage of these sirens. So currently, the Rust-Oleum siren is out of service. We cannot get that one operational. The Greg's Landing siren appears to have been installed, as I said, in 1998, making it 19 years old. This siren has a damaged tone generator board, and due to its age, attempts to locate this part have been unsuccessful. The maintainer was able to use an older board that he had on hand, but it's a used board, and there's no guarantee that it's going to last any significant period of time. So we are able to get the Greg's Landing site operational. It's only running on 3 of the speakers versus 6 of the speakers, so it's diminished in capacity as far as what it's putting out. So, as you see on the map, the Greg's Landing and which is the very small circle in black on the very top, and then the other small circle, those are both the newest sirens, but they're covering the smallest areas of the town. The recommendation on our end is to, and I believe this next, okay, so this photo here depicts the Greg's Landing site. As you notice, we've increased the area coverage significantly by moving to what we consider a better siren. It's the rotating type siren. It's in line with what we currently have at the Route 45 location, and it's the one that's primarily used by Libertyville and Countryside fire departments. If we move to the next slide here, so I met with the maintainer and then Public Works representative who actually was involved in the initial installation of our siren system. Actually, the 2 of them, we come to find out, had worked together to put this whole system in. Our recommendation is to, as I said, the Greg's Landing, move that one up from its current omnidirectional type siren to a rotating siren, which is going to cover, we're going to move from 4,800 feet to a 6,000 foot range. And then also eventually changing out the one over by the high school, which we're going to put together a comprehensive plan in order to do this. That is not one that needs to be dealt with immediately, but it's just something for us to look at. We're also going to increase that one to the same one as we are putting in the Greg's Landing site. So basically, we're looking to place 2 of the Wayland 4004 sirens in the 2 failed sirens. And we feel that it'd be prudent, again, to replace those immediately as soon as possible. And then, again, work with a comprehensive plan to replace the one in Oakwood Park probably within the next year to 2. As of right now, the maintainer says that siren is operational. It appears to be in good shape, but again, it's the same age as the one that just failed at Rust-Oleum. So we currently have on the omnibus vote ordinance requesting funding to replace these sirens.
Not to exceed 75,000.
Not to exceed 75.
Yeah, okay. All right, and you'll still be able to yell at people.
Oh, so, yeah.
You'll still have the PA system.
These sirens that we currently have at all our sites are voice and tone sirens. Now, the the voice that comes out of there are pre-recorded messages. One is the test message that we put out regularly on the Tuesdays. The second one is the tornado warning siren, and then the third is a hazmat. So if we had some type of incident involving a train car spill, something of that nature,
Right.
we could activate that one.
And that, this whole discussion emphasizes the importance of, people actually getting on our email system, because we can call it, anybody and everybody, if their numbers are registered, in what, 10 minutes?
Yes, you can go on our
In the
web.
middle of the night.
You can go on our
So, it's something, the safety service is there, but, because of cell phones, you got to participate. If you got a hard line, we can get to you.
So, and with that being.
Is that accurate?
That's accurate. And with that being said, understand that when we activate our sirens, our tornado warning siren, that message automatically is put out secondary to the warning siren being pushed off.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it is very important to
Yeah.
get signed up.
So, okay, well, hey, now that we got these electronic signs, we can just advertise that, which would be good. Okay. Anything, Trustee Schultz?
Yeah, just wanted to make sure everybody realizes, though, that these sirens are not the same siren that went off last night. If you lived in this part of town, we have the Thor Guard here at the golf course.
The lightning.
And actually, it kind of spooked me, because I got all my windows replaced, so now they open very easily. And as a result, I've been having my windows open more, and I was laying in bed, and all of a sudden, there was a clap of thunder, and then the Thor Guard went off. And I was kind of half in a daze, so I turned the TV on just to see if, and then oh, wait a minute, no, that's Thor Guard. So if you live near one of the Thor Guard installations, I believe the only one left in town is at the golf course. Everybody else is on the
Did the high
weather.
school, is that one
No,
gone
they're
from high
on the
school?
weather bug system now, right?
That's true. The weather bug systems were activated out there.
Right.
Yeah, only at the golf course is Thorgard.
Yeah, and I'm not quite sure how the weather bug gets activated. It's my understanding it's done based on their large radar systems that they tap into with the Weather Bureau or whoever else. But anyway, the Thorgard did go off last night, and that is a separate entity from the sirens here, so. That's all.
Oh, Trustee Oppenheim.
So I have a few questions. There we go. First of all, it looks as though the larger dashed or dotted circles that's for a future plan, but that's not for what you would be replacing currently, correct?
The upper one is this one here.
Right.
Let's go back to that. The smaller circle right now is that Greg's Landing site.
Right, so you'd
That's
be
the one
replacing that
one-
smaller one with big one, but then the
second?
The second dashed one would be for the future.
Proposed future.
So why not just get rid of the one at Rust-Oleum and just do the larger one?
So the Rust-Oleum one is the middle circle, the dark circle that you
Yeah.
currently see there. That's already a 4,004. So that's,
So why not move that to the other site? Because it looks like though, once you have the dashed areas, it looks like most of the village is covered then.
you're saying move the current
Move the-
location of the siren to
Yeah,
the other
move- yeah.
location?
Well, yeah, so just get rid of the Rust-Oleum and move it to where, so only look at where the dashed areas are.
Part of the coverage for that Rust-Oleum is for the major commercial area along Route 60. And as you can see with the proposed dashed circles, you're at the limits of both of those sirens. So you're doing an overlap with that siren at Rust-Oleum to cover that commercial area completely.
Okay.
You just have to remember that the sound diminishes the further away from the siren it gets. So as you get to the end of those circles, the edges, it's going to be much quieter, if you will. It's not going to be as loud as it is if you're standing next to the siren. So both, as John was saying, both of those edges of those circles where they intersect each other, it's right in the commercial area, and you're right on the fringe of the commercial area. So we'd like to keep the one at the Rust-Oleum location to provide coverage for the commercial areas, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. And then, did you look at any other companies? Is there a possibility of switching companies instead of sticking with the Whelen?
The concern about switching to other companies, currently, the communication center sets off the sirens for Libertyville, Countryside, us, and Lincolnshire. All those are done on one encoder. If we start to mix and match our equipment, we'd have to go to two types of encoders to deal with that. Right now, Lincolnshire actually uses a federal signal system. Their siren, they also have 5 sirens in their village. Their reach is about 5,300 feet per siren. One of their sirens is actually covering our very southern portion of the tip of Route 45 in Milwaukee Avenue.
I spoke with someone from a different company called LRAD, and they claim that their sirens are better and that people can actually hear the voices much better than the Whelen product. So that's why I was just curious if there was any possibility of at least exploring that as an option, so then you wouldn't be limited to just those 3 types of messages. You could actually give a better message that people could actually hear and not wonder what's being said. So I was thinking, considering almost all of these were near the end of life, instead of spending this money for 2 new ones and then having to switch out all the old ones and then being forced to be with this company, if we could look into just at least explore the opportunity to switch companies, and then, obviously, I don't know what the difficulties would be with managing with the other departments and see how difficult that really is, but to me, it seemed like it'd be worth a quick look at least before we committed to this.
Well, the unfortunate thing is, it sounds like the need is here right now,
Right.
and,
I don't know how long this would take to investigate. This other company said they have a mobile unit that they can even bring down, and you can listen to the 2 units, turn one on and see how you can hear voices from far away on one unit and compare it to the other. Especially concerning if we have a rotating siren, you're not really going to be able to hear voices very well as it's facing the other direction, I would imagine. It might be even more garbled than in the omnidirectional.
So the idea behind that rotating siren is that it delivers the message across all radius.
So it
Yeah.
stops in an area,
No, it doesn't-
delivers the message, and
No,
then,
it's rotating and it's delivering that message, because it rotates extremely slowly as it goes. So, but the message is delivered across all the radius of that circle. Yes, and what you're referring to is an omnidirectional siren or tone or voice, and that's currently what these smaller ones are. As you go into that type of siren, the cost increase starts moving up incrementally.
yeah, I understand that. And then I have no vested interest in this company, but they claim that many branches of the military use, in fact, they develop their technology according to their website based on the needs of the Navy after the Cole incident, and they couldn't get their audio message out well enough, so that they were chartered by the government to improve their product. So they claim that they're the best of these in terms of the actual voice message. Now, then the next question is, do we really even need the voice message versus just the siren alone, and how worthwhile is that? So I don't know the answer to that.
I do. I was out on the golf course last year, and there was some people in town that they were playing, and they came running over and said, "What does that message mean?"
Right.
It's a
Right,
test.
too.
This is
Until
a
the test message, yeah, I guess on Tuesdays.
Well, no, this was after the test, and they don't understand. They were foreign nationals, and they didn't understand what that was about. So by identifying it as a test message or whatever, it gives everybody a better heads up. So I'm all in favor of having the voice capability.
Sure. So then the question is, what's the time frame here? Even if we go with the Wheelan product, how long is it going to be until we get it replaced? And would there be an opportunity to take a quick look at others and see if the board would be interested in that? Obviously, the cost would be significant to switch everything out, but we're talking about all old units, so if we're going to replace it in a few years anyway, we might as well look at
Yeah, but, well, they're not all as old as, not everyone's the same age,
right.
you know. However, the ones that failed, yours in Greg's Landing.
Was the newest.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so what's the answer to that, Deputy
The
Chief?
answer to the question is that these things are built as an as-needed basis. There's not a stockpile of these sirens, so the maintainer's telling me that it's 8 weeks out before we will take delivery on these sirens. But once we order them, then we would have to take them.
Yeah, okay. And the sirens are functioning
The siren is,
to a lesser capacity.
the one in Greg's is functioning on 3 speakers. The one at Rust-Oleum is out of service, nothing.
Okay. And then the one I hear is Rust-Oleum, I'm by near the firehouse.
So you may be picking up, you're primarily getting the Rust-Oleum one. You may be picking up one of Mundeleins that's located at,
No, you're right, it's gotta be Rust-Oleum.
like I said, the Mundelein one is located off of Route 60 by Armour
Because the
Road.
voice sounds like he's in the kitchen if I'm home around.
That's Rust-Oleum.
I go,
They're right there.
Okay, I know who that is. Who is that? Who is that, the officer? Or is that a dispatcher?
I'm not 100% certain. It could be Ed Mankey.
Who?
Ed Mankey, our supervisor.
Okay.
So
It could be. I haven't,
Well, with the one non-functioning, I think we ought to move on that post haste. The one at Rust-Oleum. So maybe we just order one and check out, I don't care if we check out these other, systems.
well, but then we're spending tens of thousands of dollars for that one that we might consider switching the whole system.
Oh, you're
A few months
talking about
later.
doing, how many sirens is it? 5?
there's a total of 5 sirens in our system, the Vernon Hills system.
Yeah, well,
My concern is if we start switching things up, what does that do to our relationship with these other entities that we've
right.
come to? Like you talked about Lincoln, if we order some other system with another company and they're dependent on something else, then what happens?
Nothing really. I mean, the bottom line is it's my understanding based on the information at hand from the maintainer is we would have to deploy another encoder into our dispatch center, which means that they'd have to go to 2 separate systems to set off the sirens. Right now.
They only one.
They go to one place.
Right.
Hit the button and it.
Boom, and it goes.
Sets off all the sirens. We don't have them set up where it's just Libertyville or Vernon Hills.
Right, it goes to
If
everybody.
we have an issue,
Okay.
it sets it off.
So that's my concern. If we start doing that, then how
Yeah.
many buttons are we gonna start pushing? I like clean, I mean, you're talking about an emergency situation, and personally, when you hear that siren go off, I'm not gonna listen to the voice, I'm gonna go down the basement. I'm gonna make sure that I get to a safe place. To me, that's the message that we need to send too. So I'm not sure that we need to worry about ordering from this company or this company, personally. So I'm in favor of trying to get this done and make it safe, because we're going into tornado season now.
But
We're
what-
not going next year. We're going
What
now.
if it's a hazardous material that's near your house and you should be evacuating and not going into the basement?
Well, hopefully people will hear that siren, and also they're on the reverse 911 call. We need to get those people's phone numbers
Well, I get
in so
that.
people can be notified via their cell or their home phone or whatever. That's part of what we've got to work on.
Nikki, we did some research on this. What do we have, 7,000 phone numbers if you include the hard lines?
I believe it was about 7,000.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone has. a
Now,
phone.
however, there's 25,000 people.
Right.
So, I mean, is there more than 7,000? Probably.
Sure, probably.
You know.
Sure.
But I mean, if houses got a hard line, okay. We got what, 8,000 homes?
At least.
Is this a trick question?
I'm sorry.
8,000 homes in town.
8,000. I think there's 8,000 actual residents. domiciled buildings, you know, whether it's apartments or houses.
At least 8,000, yeah.
Okay. All right, so, but there's, yeah, you don't know if you're hitting the important thing is, in all honesty, if you're sawing wood in the middle of the night, you got the windows closed and the air conditioning going,
Yeah, I can hear it.
you know, you're like, so the phone is gonna be real important. We did this, we got into that whole computer system because of Lady Lakes getting blown off the face of the earth in Florida, and Mike Allison's mom lived down there.
Right.
And you know, this side of the street didn't get taken out, this side of the street did. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. That's whether, you know, the train derails or the plane crashes. I mean, you know, if you're sawing wood, you know, if the phone rings, that usually wakes people up. Or your cell. Unless you turn your cell off for the night. Then I don't have control over it.
It's actually to home phone number and cell phone number.
Yeah.
So if your spouse is also, you have multi calls that would be coming in at the same time.
It'd almost be like New Year's Eve, huh?
Close.
Well, with that said, I don't think we should, and the Rust-Oleum one, I'd say, man, move on that now. The rest of the system, to change it all, that's gotta be studied. That's gonna take time. But if we got one that's out completely, you know, let's replace it then.
Will any of the pieces and parts from the one that we take down be suitable for resurrecting additional horns or whatever on the one that's running at half speed?
Unfortunately not. So the current one at Rust-Oleum is a 3000 model, which is the oldest model, and they moved it into the 4004 model. So that's what makes all these components vintage, antiquated with current technology that's being deployed.
Okay, is this on omnibus?
It is.
Yes, it is.
Okay. You know, I mean, again, I don't mind looking at the whole system, but if we got one that's down, you know, we should replace that then and replace it with the Wheeling. You know,
For right now, yeah.
get it ordered.
So we'll need to take it off the omnibus.
What you'll do is you'll pull it from the
Yeah, we'll
omnibus
pull
and
it,
vote it
yeah.
separately.
Yeah, we can
Right.
vote, if everybody, you know,
Yeah.
well, we can vote on it and then we'll
Sure.
see who agrees, you know. Anybody else want to weigh in on this one? Okay, all right. Okay, omnibus vote agenda. Is there a motion to approve, or which item was the siren?
Oh.
Oh, is there a motion to approve A through N, pull O, and then approve, what's the last one? Jesus. P.
So made.
Second.
Motion is second. Roll call.
Trustee Cook?
He's not here.
Oh.
But no.
Trustee Oppenheim?
Aye.
Trustee Takaoka?
Aye.
Trustee Hebda?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Item O, approval and passage of ordinance 2017-071, an ordinance authorizing the approval of expenditures to J.C. Communications Technologies LLC for the purchase of 2 Wheeling, so we'll change that to 1 Wheeling outdoor warning siren in the amount of, what, 37,500? 37,500? Well, each siren,
75.
if it's 75,000.
Because of this.
Oh.
Yeah.
There- Because of the way the sirens are set up, there's different costs to each one of those sirens. The one at Greg's was originally supposed to be with a solar system, charging system, whereas the one at Rust-Oleum has an AC connection because of its proximity to power. So that one was a little bit cheaper. So
what do you-
roughly 35,000 would get us to where we need to be.
Okay. All right, so, and, so 1 Wheeling outdoor warning siren in an amount not to exceed 35,000. and waiving the competitive bid process. Is there a motion and
Your
a
Honor,
second?
one question before the
Yeah.
motion. Is this the larger of the two? Does this get us the 6,000-foot coverage?
This is the Rust-Oleum one, this is the 6,000-foot coverage.
Okay, so this is the maximum size that.
This is exactly replacing the current one that's right there.
Okay, got it.
Everybody clear? Mm-hmm. We got a motion and a second?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Now we got a second, and a motion. Okay, roll call.
Trustee Oppenheim?
Aye.
Trustee Takaoka?
Aye.
Trustee Hebda?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Motion carries.
So now what happens to the second one?
Well, we have to work on that.
So they're going to be without a siren?
No, there's siren.
We still have a
The
siren.
siren will work for right now to help?
Within reason.
Within reason.
But, you know, if you want to do the test with a couple of different companies as suggested, you know, I don't have a problem with that, you know? But that means we got to get another board, and what does the board cost?
Yeah.
If we
The second
got all wheeling,
communication board,
the communication board.
The encoder,
yes.
Encoder, right.
Encoder.
to set off that other.
The other siren.
Just
Well,
one.
that one, the new one that we're putting in will work off of our current encoder.
No, I know
Right,
that.
but-
If we
Replaced
actually,
everything.
To be compatible with the other municipalities.
Do you,
Going,
You said that.
if
you
we
said-
went to another.
If we were to
unit-
go to a different company, do you
I
have
wouldn't
any
know
idea?
until,
Yeah,
we
who
won't
would-
know that until we go to the other company,
Company
find out
and-
what they're offering us.
yeah, okay, all right. Well, you know, I don't have a problem doing that, you know, if it's a superior product and it's not a total arm and a leg, you know, we'll certainly consider it, or at least try it in that location, you know. But let's get the new wheeling going, you know, for Rust-Oleum. Okay. All right,
Do P.
unfinished additional
Gotta do
business.
P. Oh, no, we did that. Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Okay.
Yep.
Unfinished.
Approval and passage of ordinance 2017-06, an ordinance approving the final plat of subdivision and final site and landscaping plans for a planned unit development for property located at the Cuneo Museum and Gardens in the village of Vernon Hills, Lake County, Illinois. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve ordinance 2017-069, along with the 6 conditions for the final approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Comments or questions? If not, roll call.
Trustee Takaoka?
Aye.
Trustee Hebda?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Cook? Trustee Oppenheim?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, any new business or communication to come before the board?
Mr. Mayor, I've got something that I'd
Yeah.
like to bring before the board. I've been getting a lot of inquiries and a lot of people in the community approaching me regarding Tobacco 21. It's an ordinance to raise the age from 18 to 21 to purchase cigarettes, e-cigarettes. Lincolnshire is on the cusp of, approving their ordinance. Highland Park's already done it, Deerfield, the city of Chicago, Evanston as well. It's nothing we'd have to rewrite. We could probably pretty much look at the other ordinances nearby. Again, just I've been inundated with a lot of, people approaching me, whether it's at soccer games or my baseball games and, via email. So I was wondering if that's something the board would support as far as having an ordinance drawn up here in Vernon Hills.
What do you think, Chief?
While I support the concept, my suggestion would be to get this moving at the state level. The only issue with doing it as individual municipalities is that if you prohibit it in Vernon Hills, they can walk across the street to Mundelein, unless everyone is on board with this. We ran into the same issue with the seatbelts. We ran into the same issue with the cell phone usage. And while some of these communities have passed the ordinance, I talked to a couple of my counterparts in them today, and not one of them has ever issued a ticket or made an arrest for the sale of the sale of tobacco to minors. At this stage, it seems like a feel-good ordinance. It doesn't have much teeth behind it because it's very difficult to, it's easy to enforce, but unless you make the possession of it illegal as well, which is another whole issue, it becomes very difficult when a 17 or 18-year-old, I'm sorry, 18, 19-year-old can walk across the street to Mundelein, purchase cigarettes, and walk back into Vernon Hills. Now it's not illegal anymore. The only thing that was, none of it's illegal. It makes the enforcement difficult. I know there is something moving through the legislature right now. The Senate has passed a bill prohibiting the sale of tobacco products to those under the age of 21. It's in the House right now. I tried contacting our representative today, but because of the short notice, I had heard that this was coming up. I haven't received a response yet to find out where it's at in the House. But really, my recommendation is, like I said, while I agree in principle, my recommendation would be is we need to get this moving at the state level and light a fire under them.
Okay, just in response to that, I completely agree. I'm not going to disagree with the argument. However, it's got to start somewhere. The city of Chicago, right? Our surrounding communities, Lincolnshire's down the street. It's no different than these vape rooms. Yeah, they can go to Mundelein because they're all over Mundelein, but we're not going to approve it. And this is coming from the community. This is not my opinion. I'm getting a lot of moms specifically that, yes, if they feel it's a deterrent, they just wanted to know they're in a community that you have to be 21 to purchase cigarettes or an e-cigarette. As much as, from an enforcement side, of course, possession of a cigarette, no, that's not what these ordinances are calling for. But, the fact that the surrounding communities around us are doing it, and I'm sure the police chiefs there probably hold your same opinion. But again, this is what the community wants. So that's who I represent. So that's what I want to say, relative to this. Because you're right, it may be in principle, it may be feel good, but again, I'm here as conduit to the community. I'm just telling you what a lot of people, and I mean a lot, are approaching me with. So.
Trustee Oppenheim.
So, feel good or not, as a pediatrician, you know where my vote's going to be. Obviously, this is one of the main things that we push for and ask young adults as well as their parents about daily as to whether or not they're smoking. And I think it, as Trustee Takaoka said, it does have to start somewhere. So if the state sees that all the municipalities are pushing something like this, even though it doesn't have teeth at its current state, maybe they will get on board and push something more appropriate.
Is this, Chief, analogous, and I'll open this to the staff, when we banned smoking, in public places, and, going back, I don't know, probably what, 7 years ago?
7 years or so.
But even though that didn't have any teeth either, but the state finally came around, correct?
Yes.
Well, the state did.
Right.
And, but I remember the controversy we got pulled in, it was at the billiards parlor. And, I don't know if there was too many other entities that were, adamantly against it.
And I honestly don't know.
Yeah. But he came in and he said, hey, this is gonna, hurt my business dramatically, blah, 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 but we still went through with it. But, yeah, I don't have a problem with it, and then, but you got, if the state raises the age, that's the most important thing. So, if the town, if you pass something, that essentially is not enforceable, and it leads to the state taking the more restrictive action, I mean, I don't necessarily have a problem with it, but do you want to go after energy drinks too? I mean, really, it was all over.
I want to go after Cliff Bars with 30 grams of sugar, but I mean.
No, I'm talking about the caffeine and the kid that OD'd on caffeine, pounding the coffee and something else, and the energy drinks and,
No, well.
Well,
You know what the real issue is? It's not even the actual cigarette anymore. It's the electronic version, okay? These kids are smoking this quote-unquote juice And some claim no nicotine, when in fact, all it is a bunch of chemicals, including
Oh, Christ,
glycol.
it's probably weed, for God's sake. You probably get that in there, too.
The fact of the matter is,
Chief?
if it's a deterrent.
Yeah, I don't
Mr.
think
Mayor,
so,
I
but-
mean,
Not yet? Okay, I'm sure somebody's working on that.
Again, a lot of the residents here have asked me
Yeah,
to bring
okay.
this to the village board. I'm asking for your support on this and, per their requests, and it's not just one or two, for support on this
I
ordinance.
guess why haven't the residents come to the board then on this? Why is it just you that's getting the information and not me?
Well, Craig, there's only 27,000 people.
I mean, I guess
so,
that's,
you know.
this is the first time I've heard of it. I mean, I understand where you're coming from, and I agree too, that yes, we don't want to see these kids smoking. I also feel it's part of the parents' responsibility to do that. And speaking as a teacher, that's part of what I get frustrated with, is put it on the onus of your legislators or whatever, so we've got to get our parents involved too. But I guess I don't understand why we haven't heard anything. And we got residents coming for gambling, which we talked about, but I've heard no one coming to me to say, why aren't we approving this ordinance? That's where I'm coming from.
Here's the thing, part of the platform why, I ran for this is that I'm out in the community on a daily basis. The first time I was approached was a month ago at my kid's soccer game. And I coach baseball again. I'm just, people are just coming up to me. The thing is, I'm approachable, okay? I'm accessible, right? I'm out there constantly, and people just say, "Hey, Craig, what do you think? This is just getting passed in, in Lincolnshire. Can you bring it to the board?" So that's, that's again, I'm just.
Well, here, put it on committee of the whole, and we'll see what happens.
Because I think we should, I'd like
Yeah,
to
it's
hear
okay,
from
yeah.
residents too.
To
hear what they have to say, absolutely, and then we can make a good decision based on that. You've heard from them, but I'd like to hear from them too. So I'm approachable, I'm out in the community every day too. I teach all day, so I guess I've got tons of parents that talk to me about issues, and that's something that I'd like to hear about too, so.
That won't be a problem.
Good.
Like I said, I
I'm
support
not
it.
sure if any trustee sitting up here, and including me, the mayor, doesn't have access to the people in town. So, I mean, God bless you, Craig, but,
Can I ask the chief a question? Do you have the bill number?
It is, I know it off the top of my head, it's Senate Bill 3011.
3011.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we'll put it on for the first meeting in June.
Like I said, I'm going to look for a little direction here, because I agree in principle with what we're discussing here, but I really think if you're going to put some teeth into it, it needs to be made a little more restrictive, and you'd have to outlaw the possession of it. Otherwise,
You can't do anything.
otherwise you're really not doing anything, because if they can get it from their friend, it really hasn't solved anything. If they get it from their older brother, it really hasn't solved anything if they can possess it and smoke it, if we're not going to make it illegal to smoke by persons under 21.
Again, let's have the discussion at committee of the whole, and we'll move on.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other new business to come before the board? I just want to say, we had a Robert O'Neill in town last weekend. He's the part of SEAL Team 6 that assassinated bin Laden. And that was up at Cuneo Loyola at the banquet facility. And some of us were there, and a lot of our police officers were there for security purposes. And this was a charity fundraiser for, the honor flights for
HEAL Team 6.
Yeah, no. Well, you were there, I was there, but I mean, it was for to raise money for the honor flights, which now include Korea and Vietnam, and then these amazing kind of not wheelchairs, but
Track
crawler-
chairs.
Track chairs.
Track chairs.
That literally you can go outside and go over hill and dale and
It goes up and down stairs.
yeah, and go hunting with them, and they had, and then besides that, O'Neill was a very inspirational speaker, and I'm glad we got people like that, because There's a lot of problems in the world, and somebody has to address them from time to time, and these guys are something else.
It was
So,
very, very impressive, to say the least.
yeah, so anyway, and our police were there, and Public Works was there with parking their big trucks at all the, different gates in there, and it was, it was a very inspirational evening, so, okay. Other than that, anybody else? Okay, is there a we're going into, executive session tonight for personnel, land acquisition.
Pending litigation and approval of minutes. So,
Okay.
under the applicable sections of the Open Meetings Act.
Yeah, okay. All right. So is there a motion to adjourn the village board meeting and go into the committee of the whole?
So made.
Second.
Motion is second, roll call, please.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Cook? Trustee Oppenheim? Aye. Trustee Takaoka?
Aye.
Trustee Hebda?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, I'd like to call the committee of the whole meeting to order. First item is approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Comments, questions, or corrections? If none, roll call.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Cook? Trustee Oppenheim?
Aye.
Trustee Takaoka?
Aye.
Trustee Hebda?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, item 2, request for an outdoor dining and seating establishment permit for Hughes Mandarin Restaurant located at 4 East Phillips Road.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And as the board is aware, Hughes Mandarin, which recently opened up, is it's located on the south side of Town Line Road, just east of Deer Path. It's in the building I think most of us remember as the Silk Mandarin. This request includes 7 tables with a seating capacity of 38 customers that is proposed on the new terrace located on the front north side of the building. That's the wood terrace that also has the pergola above the deck. It also includes a guardrail around the perimeter of it, and that would be there to separate customers from the general public. And as the board is aware, there's a liquor license with this facility, so as with past requests, there would be separation. There'd also be a self-closing gate that would be added to the top of the stairs. The application and the pictures of the proposed furniture are attached to your packet. And tonight, if the COW feels that the request is appropriate, then staff should be directed to prepare a resolution approving the request subject to the conditions outlined in your packet. And the owners are here to answer any questions that you have.
Okay. Are there any comments or questions for this issue?
I'll make a motion to approve, and we're glad you're finally here. You are busy, and we thank you for being there, so thank you.
Okay, there's a motion, is there a
Second.
Okay, any further comments or questions? If not, roll call.
Trustee Cook? Trustee Oppenheim?
Aye.
Trustee Takaoka?
Aye.
Trustee Hebda?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Good to go. Let's hope the weather holds up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Aldi's. Aldi concept presentation for an amendment to the special use permit for the Shops of Greg's Landing North planned unit development for a grocery store to be located on Lot 4 of the planned unit development. So who's here for that one? From Aldi's. Are you guys Aldi guys? Okay.
Your Honor, so they're here this evening just to kind of brief overview while they're getting their materials prepared. Plans for a grocery store are located on Lot 4. As you'll recall, the Greg's Landing North commercial parcel included 4 lots as part of the Menards development. Lot 1 being Menards, and then with 3 outlots located adjacent to Milwaukee Avenue and Greg's Parkway. Lot 4 is approximately 7.76 acres. 3 of those acres are utilized for detention purposes. The They are currently proposing to subdivide the lot with 1.87 acres being utilized for the Aldi's portion, and the second lot being approximately 2.9 acres of developable land. The site plan that they're preparing right now is approximately 20,000 square feet on the southern portion of Lot 4, adjacent to Greg's Parkway and the internal entrance magazine known as Menards Drive. They'll walk through the site plan and as well as provide a brief video. In summation, so you're aware, the grocery use in and of itself is a permitted use. However, because the development as a whole was done as a planned unit development, which is a special use, any site plan or subdivision requires an amendment to that special use. Included in your packet is a number of items as relates to that, including sections 18.2 and 18.3, which are the standards at which amendments and plan approvals can be provided. As is noted in your packet, staff has been working with all these over the last several months to come up with a site plan that is consistent with and addresses the concerns that we have as it relates to internal traffic circulation as well as truck movement into and out of the site. While we do still have some concerns, they are making progress, and we are hopeful that we'll be able to work together on coming together with a plan that is meets all these concerns as well as staff's. And with that, I'll let them make their presentation.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Tom Howell, the Director of Real Estate for Aldi, and I cover Lake County, Illinois for Aldi out of Oak Creek, Wisconsin. And I just want to thank Dave, Joe, and Mike for meeting with us with several conference calls and pre-developed meetings here at Village Hall, and just to discuss our proposed site. I believe this project is a little bit near and dear to me because we've been working on this project for several years. And to come to the point we are now, I'm excited to present to you our project, our concept, and the things that we've worked on and the adjustments that we've made with village recommendations and what we've worked on so far. But before we get started, I just wanted to ask with the raise of hands, how many of you shopped at Aldi? Okay. I know the closest location to Vernon Hills would be our Mundelein location, and that's one of our locations that we're actually looking to remodel in 2018. You may have seen in the Chicago Tribune today a very large article in regards to Aldi, and if you are a grocery nerd like myself, if you get Google alerts all the time about grocery, you've probably seen that Aldi has been in the press a tremendous amount from 2016 to through 2017 with our expansionary plans. We are proposing to have 2,000 stores by 2018 in the United States. At this point, we have 1,600 stores in the United States. In 2016, we opened up in California, and we've expanded and listened to our customers at a very expansive rate, and we've increased our product lines and our fresh offerings and the atmospheres of our stores. And to better explain that for those of you who have not shopped Aldi, I actually brought a video to show you the interior before we talk about the exterior. And if you haven't shopped at Aldi and experienced some of our products, I've brought some of our featured products. And just to give a little history of Aldi, we are an international company. We started in Germany. We are a private company. We came to the U.S. in 1976 in the great state of Iowa, where I'm from. So I like to coin great state of Iowa when I can. And in regards to the video and just discussing this project in general, I can answer all of your questions and address feedback to go back to staff with at that point. So
You could have somebody out there with quarters?
we will, so, all right, I'm going to go ahead and share a story about the quarter system because the quarter system actually is a great opportunity. So Aldi is unique. We do something that I feel every single grocer or anybody that uses a grocery cart should use. And I can tell you that a lot of competitors have used that system. So we do have a rental system. So if you come to an Aldi, you put a quarter into the cart system and unlocks your cart, but we don't have to pay for our employees to go out to the cart or go chase carts in the parking lot or have to worry about a grocery cart running into somebody's car in the lot, or for somebody to go ahead and take that cart and travel down the road or the sidewalk, because you'd be surprised how much time and effort someone would put in to get a quarter. But also it's a great introduction for you for coffee talk. I think the best experience for any of our customers when they go to an Aldi store and they're walking up and there's somebody in the parking lot comes walking up with their cart and gives it to them for free and they make a quarter. And that's one that's their friend. They have a good recognition with that, whether it's a family or mother with children. So you hear about that in social media and Facebook. You know, Aldi's is we're one of the loyalist fan bases on Facebook. So it's just a unique thing with the quarter system that you bring up. So I appreciate you.
Yeah, that means I have been in the Mundelein.
Yeah.
Aldi.
Well, and our
But you know what I
manager-
did? I didn't bring the cart back.
Now, if you don't have a quarter, we'll give you a quarter. And when
No,
we-
I had the quarter,
Yeah.
but I didn't bring the cart back.
Well, you
I
probably.
lost my quarter.
But you probably made a kid's day or somebody else's day.
You think so?
I think so.
Oh, because
Yeah,
somebody
they-
grabbed the
yeah,
cart.
right,
Oh, okay.
yes. Yeah, I can
Well,
tell you.
now, you should have a cart corral then, that.
Yeah, we have exterior cart corral that's on the features that we can talk about, the
Okay.
building elevation, and it's enclosed masonry block, and it resembles the whole building. So it looks pretty sharp, and you guys will get to see some of it in the video here that I'll play for you. And I apologize for the audio. I did my best. I'm not an IT specialist, but I want to thank the IT specialist for helping me set it up. So enjoy.
So there's an Aldi jingle?
To know Aldi is to love Aldi, and shoppers who know us really do love us. Our simple approach to grocery shopping has been our philosophy for more than 40 years, and it translates into big savings for the more than 40 million people who walk through our doors each month. Rising demand for Aldi is why we're one of the fastest growing retailers in the U.S. With just a few aisles compared to 30 elsewhere, we're smaller than a traditional supermarket. Yet inside our more than 1,600 stores, shoppers will find the very best of their weekly must-haves, like fresh produce, organics, dairy products, gluten-free foods, USDA choice beef, and fresh bakery items. And since more than 90% of the products on our shelves are under our exclusive brands, made by many of the nation's leading food producers, our customers can feel good about the food they buy at Aldi, while saving up to 50% on their grocery bills.
Because of the price, because of the way that it helps my budget, I would go out of my way to find an Aldi to shop every week.
I have choices where I can shop, and I'd rather shop at Aldi.
So you might ask, why are more and more cities across the country welcoming Aldi into their communities? It's because Aldi knows that being a smarter grocery store means more than just providing high-quality products at low prices. It means looking for ways to be good neighbors in the places we operate. That's why we go the extra mile to reduce costs, maximize efficiencies, and ensure our facilities, people, and products are top-notch for the families in your community. We also love saving green, not just our customers' dollars, but the earth, too. Because we're dedicated to reducing our environmental impact, Aldi stores feature environmentally friendly building materials, LED lighting, and refrigeration systems that have reduced our energy use. And we always ask our shoppers to bring their own reusable grocery bags, or buy a few of ours at checkout to use on all their trips to Aldi. Our stores from coast to coast are simple and easy to shop, unlike big box mass merchandisers. Aldi stores are welcome additions to many communities because of our modest size, modern design, top quality construction, and the fact that we stay open only during the most popular shopping hours. No late night traffic or noise. Plus, we make a positive impact on local economies by being an employer of choice, offering our employees market-leading wages and benefits.
We have paid vacations, excellent healthcare and 401k.
Aldi truly believes that the focus of our company is our people, and then our people will then take care of our customers. You can see the change on a daily basis in the stores. More customers, happy customers. Watching it grow is pretty awesome.
As you can see, Aldi cares about our customers, our employees, our communities, and our role as a business. We look forward to working with you to bring our Simply Smarter approach to your community.
Well, I appreciate you guys letting me play that short video just to give an introduction and just to kind of give a highlight of the interior design of our building with the concept of our grocery and our shopping experience. But on top of that, just in regards to the product and my background, I started with Aldi 9 years ago in operations and got into the real estate world just under 5 years ago. Before that, I spent a lot of time working in grocery. I've worked at the big box, I've worked at the supermarket, and I can tell you that I'm an Aldi fan, an Aldi shopper, diehard Aldi. But it's not just because I work for the company, it's because I know the grocery industry and I know what it has to offer. And it's not only the price, the best price, but it's at the best quality. And our corporate headquarters in Batavia, at our corporate headquarters, we actually have test kitchens where we do our 90% of our exclusive brands that are Aldi brands, which I brought for you guys here today. And 10% of our stores are actually name brand products, iconic products that you just can't do an exclusive brand for, such as Tide or Coca-Cola. So just a quick introduction of a few products, and then we can talk about your guys' questions and concepts. But we are an international company, so we do have German chocolates, which I know a lot of people are big fans of. If you want to pass that around or take a look at it, feel free. Is anybody here gluten-free? Well,
I probably should be, but it's too late.
we also offer a lot of gluten-free products. Our Live G-Free brand is one of our most popular products.
There you go.
This from,
So we also offer our new Live G-Free brand, if you guys would like to take a look at that, if you haven't shopped and seen some of our new branding of products. This has been a really big expansion of product line for us that's complemented a lot of families with dietary changes. And then our Simply Nature product line, which is an organic line of products for us as well. And then probably my most favorite brand, our new brand that we rolled out, was our Little Journeys brand, and that was listening to our customers. I have a 17-month-old and soon-to-be second child here in a month, and our Little Journey brand that we rolled out for mothers out there and their children, social media-wise, has blown up across the board, and we're very excited about that opportunity to continue to expand our product lines as a company and with our fresh offerings in the store that you saw in the video. So you guys can fight over those samples if you'd like to take them home.
Thursday.
You want the juice?
I like that.
yeah, I'd give, are those cookies basically?
Those
Not just any
No,
cookies.
those are.
German cookies.
Those are,
They're imported from
Craig,
Germany.
you should keep those and take them when you gotta bring treats to all the games, the soccer games,
Hey, that's-
the
We don't
baseball
do
games.
snacks.
Come
They're
on.
too old for snacks.
Oh,
12
come
years
on.
old is
I
the
think,
cutoff.
I think John has the best
Mayor.
idea right now.
They're too
He's
old
up
for
for
snacks.
sample.
We're done with
Okay.
snacks by age 10.
Use the pen.
Okay.
Use the pen and you,
It's about
You want
I mean,
an opener?
Roger.
Now, all these products are at every single Aldi store.
The grandkids.
We're gonna do that for football.
And fruit
Here,
squeezies.
you might wanna keep these for the new baby.
No, yeah, really, yeah.
If you haven't tried our new lines at Aldi with our Little Journey brand,
Little tray, I know that.
it's really great price points and good products.
So are you,
I already had
did you grow
all
up in Iowa?
Actually, I'm from Michigan,
Oh.
and I grew up in Iowa as well.
Oh, yeah?
And now I'm in
So you know where
Wisconsin.
Muscatine is?
I know where Muscatine, Iowa is, good wrestling team. I play basketball, and I know Iowa very well. There's not a lot to do in Iowa besides sports and farming, so. Mhm.
Okay.
The farm
So you
university starts.
know where Gulfport is?
No,
Illinois?
no, I'm unfamiliar with that.
Okay. Just asking. Rivertown, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, that, you may have those. You want them now?
Okay.
Well, I'm glad you guys are enjoying the samples, and as you guys are enjoying the samples, I'll introduce our engineer, Matt Carey, with Pinnacle Engineering out of Wisconsin, and he can kind of talk about the site. I know that we've made some slight changes based off of feedback from speaking with Dave to address some of the design issues, but I feel like we're coming together, and with staff recommendations to continue to work on the site.
Thanks, Tom. I don't know if this is the exact site plan the committee has in their packet, but this is pretty close with just some slight variations.
I don't think that's turned on.
I'm sorry. Test 1, 2.
I don't think it's working.
Okay.
It's working.
I think this one works.
Test. Hello. Okay.
That's working.
Hello. Now we're here. Okay, like I was saying, this is similar to probably what you have in your packet with just some slight variations and working with Dave and the village staff here. Just to kind of walk you through the site plan here. The building itself is roughly 19,000 square feet. You can see the proposed cart corrals here along the northeast corner of the building with the main entrance point here. In total, there's about 104 parking stalls encompassing along the north and east sides of the building. The existing grade differential, if you've driven past there is a little bit of a drop going towards the detention pond, which is located on the east side of the site here. So to accommodate that, we do need to propose a small retaining wall along the east side of the site, which you see over here. Another key thing to point out, and this is one of the major things we're working with staff diligently on, is the northwest access point. As you can see here, Aldi has a truck dock to accommodate their deliveries, and in working with staff, one of the main things that they were concerned with was coming up with a design that allowed the truck to pull into the site and then back into the loading stall without blocking any traffic along the private Menards Road here, which is currently under construction. So what we came up with is this concept here where the truck would pull in, park here essentially, and then pull in reverse, go into the stall or the loading dock, and then head north and then out of the development. And with that, one of the concerns, and I think it's mentioned in your packet as well, which has led to the revised entrance configuration here, is to prohibit a north left turn out of the Aldi site. So right now, we're proposing a southbound into the Aldi site here, and then along with eastbound and westbound traffic along the north here, and they can also access the site along the east side here as well. That's basically the site in a nutshell. I also have a landscape plan. I believe you have that in your packet, which I can go through here quickly as well.
So you're saying it's a right-in, right-out only?
No, that's not. I can flip it back here. It would be into the development. It would be right in and left out and right out. But just turning south into the Aldi store itself would just be a right in. And that would prohibit traffic heading north out of the site at this point in the site. There would be two-way traffic over here on the northeast corner of the site. Correct. And I think it's also mentioned in your packet, just to be clear, there is a future development going into the north. And this will be tied in with this edge of pavement here and with this parking as well. And now just a quick run through the landscape plan. This is very high level at this point, just concept level landscape plan. You can see the heavy level of detail that we're proposing. In this large landscape island to the north, several trees and shrubs to give it a nice feel. Along the east side of the site where I mentioned that retaining wall is proposed, there'd be several shrubs there. Filling in that landscape buffer, providing a visual obstruction for cars parking there, just to help facilitate the need for the wall. Along the south side, very beefed up landscape design here to accommodate the south entrance face, or the south elevation of the building along Greg's Parkway. And then also along the west side of the site, very detailed landscaping to help screen that truck when it's in that loading dock. With that, I can turn back over to Tom, and he can discuss the architectural elevations of the building.
Thanks, Matt. So in regards to the actual landscape plan, we put together an initial planting growth chart with a 5-year growth chart, just to better understand Greg's Parkway and the service road to the west. And I'm not sure if the camera can zoom in on that, but I can walk and show as well. So for our site elevation with our truck dock, we do have a masonry screen wall with the truck dock that's included in your packet. And this would be our initial planting size with our trees, and at the 5-year growth rate based off of our landscape architect recommended growth rates for the different trees, shrubs, and with the caliper of trees that we have with our concept plan. And obviously it's something we're working with staff in regards to future development with the details of those different plantings. So this is just top level here. And then for the rear elevation, you can see the same thing with the bottom here being the initial planting and then going into the 5-year planting as well. Just to resemble that, there's going to be a lot of breaks and a lot of nice features, and we went above and beyond with our landscape plan to make sure that we can meet those needs that were brought to our attention. Are there any questions in regards to the site plan or landscape plan before we talk about the building? So in regards to the building elevations, I think this is a work in progress. I think Mike and Joe and I have many discussions in regards to the elevations, and we made a lot of different enhancements to the elevations. We've raised the entire parapet of the building by 3 feet to conceal all rooftop units. We've added additional tower features to all 4 corners of the building. We've broken up the masonry components of the building to add hardy plank and cementitious siding, which you can see at the tower elements. We've added faux windows and spandrel glass. On the front tower elements here on the north elevation, you can see that we actually have our store entrance with our canopy and tower, and with the aluminum composite panels and that feature. And just to kind of talk about the building itself, we start with the water table of a split-face block that's capped with a sandstone stone with a Belden brick blend of a reddish-gray blend with accent pilasters in between every 20 feet for the building. I've got a sample board with me as well. And in regards to the samples, you can just see the actual brick colors themselves to get a better understanding, because the rendering, we can't show the exact brick colors, so it'd be tones of different reds for the building, and I've got a full sample of those as well, and I can show those if you would like. And then the darker accent gas flash color, which would be the columns throughout the building that do protrude out from the building as well to add more architectural features. And these are the aluminum composite panels and the split face stone. But as I mentioned, I think this is an item that we have taken several different comments on, and we'll continue to make some adjustments to work with staff on.
What's the square footage?
The building is 19,054 square feet, and the sales floor is 12,106 square feet. And then when you include the exterior cart corral, the actual exterior cart corral you can see here, if you look at the east elevation as you go into the storefront, the actual cart corral is in this area right here, and this is the side view of the other cart corral where you store 2 rows of carts. So it's going to be in a glazed area with masonry stone around it.
What do you think your sales will be at that location? Annual?
Well, the higher the better for our proposals for me, but annual sales for the actual building itself, just off a rough estimate within the surrounding market, I can't disclose sales figures because we are a private company, but I can say that the store should be able to accomplish sales that are within our divisional sales average, if not exceed.
You got to do better than that. You got to you got to be specific. If you got to go call somebody, go call them right now. I'm serious.
About our actual.
Well, what you think the store is going to do in sales? That's important to our town. You catch that? Sales tax.
I understand. It's very
Okay.
important in
So
regards.
you can't speak to that. That's not good. That's not good at all.
Well, I can give you rough estimates
Well,
in regards.
I
to
don't, okay, get rough on me.
Okay. So in regards to the actual sales volume of the store, if it was going to be an above average or average sales store, we would see over $10 million.
So not as good as the Trader Joe's?
I have no clue what Trader Joe's sales are. I know they're a private company as well that does not disclose.
So there's no affiliation at all?
We are a completely separate entity from Trader Joe's.
But there's some affiliation?
There is no affiliation with Trader Joe's.
Oh, it used to be, okay. What, in the last 2
There was
years?
never an affiliation with Trader Joe's and Aldi. Just to let you know that the 2 brothers that started Aldi, one invested in Trader Joe's, but Aldi as Aldi South Group, we are a completely separate entity from Trader Joe's.
Okay. And that's always been like that?
We've always been a separate entity from
Okay.
Trader Joe's.
All right.
Now, there are a lot of similarities when you go and you shop at an Aldi's. You don't have a large sales floor. You have a limited assortment grocer with a range that appeals to a wide audience. Now, Trader Joe's is a regional shop, while Aldi's is an everyday shop. As you saw on that chart, in Illinois alone, we have hundreds of locations.
Okay. I think we have citizens that would like to address this issue, so I'll be more than happy to recognize them at this point. Since I didn't see the panel light up here.
Good evening. My name is Chet Liss. I live at 515 Torrey Pines Way in Greg's Landing. I have been a resident of Greg's Landing now for 19 years. I came here today to give feedback on strictly feedback on the architectural and aesthetics of the Aldi store. I am not here to pass judgment on whether I am for or against the store. Hopefully Bradford and the village board will remember me for my involvement in the architectural and aesthetics of the Greg's Landing South Commercial area. If Aldi's has not done it yet, I invite all these to look at what was done to the Lowe's store, Mariano's, the bank, Staples. And I'm looking for the same type of architectural and aesthetics that were put into that South Commercial area. If you remember what we used for a benchmark, we used the commercial area in Lake Forest, the one that has the one and only McDonald's that is as fancy as McDonald's is. That's the commercial area we use for a benchmark for our South Commercial area. I requested that the Lowe's, Staples, the bank, and Mariano's, and Menards have an architectural like custom homes. Since Greg's Landing is a lot of custom homes, we'd like to have the commercial area flow into that type of architecture. The building should be all brick and decoratory stone, like prairie stone. The colors should be all neutral. Currently,
Where's the board at? You got the board still? Yeah, go ahead, Chuck.
okay, the colors should all be neutral colors. Currently, the red and gray that's up there, I do not consider at all neutral colors. So I'm asking, go with neutral colors. Go with the beiges, go with the taupes, go with the browns. Be consistent to what we already have in that development. We should have four-sided architecture. The buildings should have various bump outs, no big box, have bump outs. The roof design, well, the roof looks like a flat roof, but if it was not a flat roof, imitate cedar shake as much as possible. We like to have a lot of landscaping in the area, in the islands. When what was available to me to look at was what was on the village website. There was no landscaping on the village website. So I would strongly recommend Colorado blue spruces, a lot of them in the landscaping.
You gotta hold that thought. Dave, is that one of the species that's being attacked right now? By the latest disease?
I'm not sure that spruces are being impacted. Whether or not they should be within an island, there's suitable uses for them. Chet's recommend them in other areas. We do use them, maybe not in the parking lot, though.
Yeah, okay. You know, there's another blight coming.
Sure. I requested that the signage on the buildings have a neutral beige brick background and the sign letters be white. You know, currently the signs has red, blue, white, etc. What we did with the Lowe's, Mariano's, Menards, we had a nice neutral background and white letters. I'm asking for the same thing for the Aldi store. The current design of the Aldi store calls for signs on all four sides. Let's cut that down to one side. Aldi's could pick the side. Put the sign only on one side, maybe the max two. If I recall what the village did in other areas, they never approved four signs, maybe two, usually one. Okay, with the partnership and cooperation of Bradford, Lowe's, and Mariano's, we achieved all these goals on the South Commercial area, and I'd like to achieve the same goals on the North Commercial area. I reviewed the plans that were available on the village website, and I looked at the design, and I would just say that the design that's on the website did not meet the goals that we had set for ourselves for that commercial area. Therefore, the current proposed design of the Aldi's store is unacceptable. Here are some of the design changes that need to be done. The proposed design is not architectural pleasing and does not use neutral colors. It's a standard Aldi's box. We don't want a standard Aldi's box. Just like we did with Lowe's, Mariano's, the bank, and Menards, The design of the Aldi store must be architectural and aesthetically pleasing, making it one of the best shopping centers in Lake County. The building exterior should be brick, real brick. It should be decorative stone, like prairie stone. No industrial type of warehouse building. Okay, there should be no sign size variations. There should be no setback variations allowed. Lots of landscaping in the islands. There should be additional landscape islands installed to break up the parking lot. The minimum width of the islands should be 6 foot wide to provide good tree growth and good shrub growth. If there's going to be a cart corral, and I don't know that there's going to be a cart corral, if there's going to be one, make it the same design as the Mariano's cart design, which we also put in Menards. The site calls for a retaining wall. If the retaining wall is because Aldi's and Bradford are requesting a setback variation, the setback variation should be denied. If the setback variation is being requested, then I would guess that the retaining wall is being put in there because they have now eliminated the slope from the parking lot into the pond. Therefore, again, if there's any setback variation being requested, deny it. Therefore, no retaining wall. Now, if the retaining wall was always in the design, if that was always in there, then let's do some good design out of the box. Let's not put up a normal retaining wall. Put up a boulder wall, adding a waterfall feature. Now, if you go into Wheeling, at one time, they were a garbage suburb. Then over the years, boy, they have really come up. And one of the features that they put into one of their developments at the north end of Milwaukee Avenue and Lake Cook Road is a waterfall feature. Beautiful. So again, if the retaining wall is in there because of setback, then no setback. We don't need a retaining wall. If the retaining wall is always in there because of the landscaping of the area, then come on, let's do something.
The waterfalls at Dundee.
Yes.
Not
Okay, well, there's also
Lake
one.
Cook goes.
Yeah, there's also one in the, there's a townhouse development or condo development.
Off of Wolf Road.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I know.
Right, okay.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, Westgate.
Traffic control. Okay, all trucks, construction trucks and store delivery trucks to and from Aldi's should not be able to use Greg's Parkway from Butterfield Road. They should only use Greg's Parkway from Milwaukee Avenue. This can be controlled in a couple of ways. One way, the village have an agreement, an ordinance that's with Aldi's and Aldi's internal policies that should state that delivery trucks and construction trucks cannot use Greg's Parkway from Butterfield Road. Should they use it, it should be strictly enforced with strict fines. It's very convenient for the cement factory that's on Butterfield Road to use shortcuts down Greg's Parkway into the construction zone. They violate the construction requirements day in and day out.
What if they're going to somebody's house in your subdivision?
They're not, okay.
Oh, they aren't? Okay.
Yeah, the reason I know that, Mayor, is that I am the Greg's Landing chairperson of the Architectural Review Committee, so I know what building is going on in the area.
No, I'm talking about the ready mix.
Oh, no problem there. I mean.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
no problem, but
They got to come into the subdivision to pour it.
no problem. But they're not, many of the trucks are going right to the Menard site.
And that's that's a ready mix plant.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
The difference between cement and concrete.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Didn't know that. Yeah, okay.
Well, the cement is what you need to make the concrete.
Sure, right.
It's called the clinker.
Yep. Okay. Changes need to be made to reduce the cut-through and speeding traffic. If an Aldi store does go through, you could bet that it's going to increase the cut-through traffic on Greg's Parkway and also increase the speeders on Greg's Parkway. Currently, the speed limit is 30 miles per hour, and a good number of the cars go 40, 45, 50 miles an hour. What we have done is requested that the village add radar signs on Greg's Parkway, and they've done that. However, there's not enough radar signs to go around, and the radar sign rotation is probably once every 6 months. With the increased tax revenue from Menards and from any other store, we are asking the village to purchase additional radar signs permanently for Greg's Parkway. The radar signs are somewhat effective in reducing the speeders on Greg's Parkway. And if possible, add more add more police patrols on Greg's Parkway to catch the speeders. I thank you. I should say, I'm sorry I don't have any chocolate or cookies to offer you.
All right, Chet, well, we won't hold that against you. Okay. All right. Yeah, this is showtime.
Good evening. I'm Don Cathan, President of the Greg's Landing North Homeowners Association. Glad to be here tonight. Thank you. I want to thank also Chet Liss, who is on our board of directors, for bringing concerns forward. We did utilize our email list to the local residents in Greg's Landing. Got some very valuable feedback that I think is consistent with some of the statements that Chet made with respect to the architectural interest of the building, the neutral palette, so that it's not a standard Aldi's box. But folks also raised the question to me regarding vacant or soon-to-be vacant properties within the village that might be suitable from an economic development standpoint for repurposing rather than building a new structure. And I had asked Joe about that question. He was going to look into it. I don't know if there's any information that could be shared tonight about suitability or whether that's a pursuit that would be of interest. So.
As a retailer, come on up. That's a valid question to ask in regards to the site location that we chose. And we spent, as I said, years in regards to exploring opportunities in Vernon Hills. And the site that we have chosen is the best site for us, a ground-up site that can provide the best long-term fit for an Aldi location. And I think that that should be taken into consideration from a tax valuation purpose from the village as well. So in regards to locations and availability, there were no other suitable sites that we could work at this time. The only site that we had available that we could work to fit with our new concept was the location that we are pursuing.
Trustee Schultz.
Anyone else from Greg's Landing?
I just had a couple of things. I'm Bob Sloat, 1576 North Hague Point Lane in Vernon Hills. I live in the Point. Couple questions. Chet, and I wholeheartedly agree with Chet. I'm also on the board. I'm speaking now probably as a private citizen, however. Please make sure we don't have a setback problem like we didn't realize we had it until Lowe's came up. We have I think it's the bank or Staples is too close to, wasn't it too close to Milwaukee, I believe, based on the CCRs. There were some issues there. But I'm looking at the email that we got, and this place is very close to Greg's Parkway. I don't, we have pretty good, the conditions and restrictions that were in all the paperwork that you, piles of it for Cuneo Estate, for the Cuneo development of the Southland, I'm sure there's setbacks, and I just make sure, I can't believe that this is so close to Greg's Parkway that we don't have in those some sort of a setback for that.
What is the setback, Dave? Or Mike? Or Joe? Or
From Greg's Parkway, the building, 35 feet, the parking lot, 25 feet. In other words, a 25-foot landscape buffer. Currently, as shown, or as it presented tonight, they meet those setbacks. They also meet the front yard setback of 40 feet and the rear yard setback of 40 feet. We've worked with them to make them adjust the parking lot on the east and north property lines so that they comply with the 12-foot setback requirement. Staff has requested that Aldi comply with all setback requirements of the Greg's Landing PUD.
Okay, I would please ask you to double check. Second thing is, the warehouse is in Batavia, so we've got stuff coming from the southwest, Town Line Road, or if it be come from the east, maybe up 294, but we would like some condition of the development to keep those trucks coming, and.
So we've already,
Yeah.
we did that
Yeah,
with,
okay.
obviously Menards and
Okay.
I'll throw Lowe's in there for good measure.
Right. And the last thing is, I know with Whole Foods, I got to read the Wall Street Journal tomorrow, find out what's going on with them again. But,
Yeah.
there's always an opportunity for Aldi to go over there if all hell breaks loose on that development. So just keep that in mind. I have nothing else to say. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Anybody else? Well, let me hear from Trustee Schultz.
First off, let me say that I am a big Aldi shopper. I probably spend more, though, in your Stevens Point, Wisconsin store than I do in the Mundelein store. It's on 10, US 10.
That's because of dual citizenship.
Yes, as I'm going up north, I stop there and I get my home run-in pizzas and a bunch of other things. Actually, back probably 10, 11 years ago, when the mall was looking to get our investment, they were talking about including a grocery operation. This was pre-Mariano's, but Mariano's was in discussion. And I was all in favor of Aldi's being the grocery option in the Hawthorne Mall to make the mall a more, viable destination. Thank you. So with that being said, is that a possibility? Old Navy is empty. I don't know what the size is and how that works, and that's been empty for quite a while. I would love to see an Aldi's store, but I'm not real enamored with the site plan I saw here. Again, I'm telling you, I'm a big fan of Aldi's, but I'm not necessarily, in the words of our leader here, Sparky, on what has been presented tonight. So I guess I'm kind of lukewarm here, but I'm hoping that you guys can pull something off that really would be an amenity. I really believe that you do have a niche, and that niche is valuable, and it is part of the mix that we need here in town, especially seeing as how the EJ&E now has 20, 30 trains a day, and getting to the Mundelein store is kind of problematic. So basically, want you here, not real sparky on what you've presented tonight.
Trustee Hebda.
The architecture is really not up to par. I'll have to, I just can't accept what you've done with the architecture. You've got to work on that a lot better if you're going to put that store there. Here you go. I mean,
Here, Chet, you know,
I think what
take a
Ms.
look at this.
It's Delavan.
What
Well,
Mr.
okay, it's relevant, but I mean, is that what you're thinking more? I mean, it's a brick building with, you know,
What
stone.
Mr. List presented when we worked with
needs to be broken
Lowe's
up
and Mariano's,
Yeah, I'm saying, but
We
the
need
colors,
something
you know, it's
better.
all brick.
I'll also agree with trustee Schultz. I would love to see the
Yeah,
store here.
well,
I'm
no, I know,
not-
it's different from that, though. Shh. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh, it's like the only children. I'm not real wild about where you're located. I wish there were another location, and I agree with trust. I know that certainly I go to the one in Mundelein. It's very hard to get to because the train always stops us. So it's nothing against your store personally. I just think if you're going to put it there, we got a long ways to go with the architecture work. A long, long ways to go with that because we worked very hard with Lowe's. We worked very hard with Mariano's. And then my other concern is as you use that land use, and Joe, correct, I mean, they've got to grab into another PUD, and what happens to that little small parcel? What's going to happen there? Are we, that's going to be a very small parcel to develop too.
Well,
when
it'll
they-
be I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No.
So the remaining parcel, and this is something, consist of approximately 5 acres of remaining property, 3 of which would be detention, and then the remaining, it's 2 or 2.5,
Yeah.
would be utilized for development. And part of the site plan that's been proposed, or at least discussed at the concept level this evening, is utilizing that access for both the southern portion, which would house the Aldi's, as well as any future developable land to the north.
So to sum it up, I'm very, not even lukewarm right now for this. So I need a lot more work on it before we can go forward. That just gives you where I'm coming from this chair.
Okay. Trustee Oppenheim.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming in. I was not an Aldi shopper. I think I'd been into one Aldi once, but at the suggestion of Trustee Takaoka, I went to the store in Palatine just a week or two ago, and it was a nice experience, and I bought a lot of food, and I ate the coconut chia granola for breakfast this morning, and it was very good. So I just want you to know that my comments are not related to the brand itself or the type of products, but I would like to echo Trustee Schultz and Trustee Hebda's words. First of all, that I'm not enamored with the location. I think that we've got enough grocery options for that one intersection, given the Mariano's, the Trader Joe's, the Menards food options, the Jewel across the street, and the Home Depot. I'm sorry, the Whole Foods going in down the street. Vernon Hills is a much larger area than one intersection or the 2 intersections, including 60 in Milwaukee, and I think it would behoove us to explore other options for the south side of the community as well, so that when they're looking for groceries, they have more than Target and Walmart to go to. I think you would be a wonderful addition to the community, but I just don't love the idea of it coming in here in that spot. Thank you.
Because of the extensive road network we have in town, Doctor, my wife finds her way into your neighborhood. Yeah, you know, the Mariano's.
Yeah, well, I understand.
you know, I mean,
No, I
We
understand.
can traverse all the streets.
I understand you can get there, but.
Well, it's easy, you know, just drive, you know, up Lakeview Parkway, it's easy, you know.
Right. But some people might want to be able to walk to a location and not have to drive there.
Wanna keep it go-
It's something else, but I'll think.
All right. Trustee Takaoka.
Yeah, I want to echo, the same sentiments as my fellow trustees as well. I've gotten a lot of emails from, your customer base, Vernon Hills moms specifically. I never shopped at Aldi, but I went into your Palatine store and I directed Dave to go check it out because your new stores are definitely nice. They're clean. They're a lot nicer than the Mundelein store. However, the community knows we've got a lot of retail space available. Did you ever look at any other available space or potential space within the community? I mean, I know you need 20,000, like the Bally's, I believe, on Town Line is about 21,000 square feet. Was that ever? And they got plenty of parking there as well. Did you ever consider that would probably even be more cost effective to renovate an existing building than build ground up? Or maybe, I'm not in real estate, but maybe I'm wrong about that. But is that something, and this is again, the community just wants to know, did you look at any other potential locations within our community?
I can answer that question.
Okay.
Address other questions if you'd like me to wait.
Well,
You wanna-
no, we'll just do it one at a time so we don't run it, we don't overlap. So the first one is, did you look at or even look into any other
We've looked
potential
at several
location?
different sites
Okay.
within Vernon Hills.
Okay.
And as I said, and our broker, Craig Lillybridge, he can speak on behalf of the market. He's been working with me in the Lake County market here for over the last 4 years. And Craig, if you'd like to speak on Vernon Hills and availability.
Just in general, that we have addressed and looked at a number of opportunities probably over the last 3.5 to 4 years, even predating Tom's tenure on this project. A number of those opportunities being south of Milwaukee and even looking at opportunities up and down Route 60. This truly is the most suitable opportunity for Aldi at this time. Their desire is to build ground up. They need a particular size. They look for synergy. One of the unique things about grocery, as many of you have cited, that there are other opportunities for grocery in the community, so why don't you locate there? The synergy of being adjacent to other groceries and really enhancing what Aldi does as a niche player in the market, that's the most effective thing for their development long term.
Okay. And then again, I'll definitely agree with, my fellow trustees relative to your site plan. That site plan isn't for where you want to locate. It's not something I would support. I get the Aldi, that's your brand, that's your, that's what people want to identify with, but, as Mr. List pointed out, go back to the Lake Forest McDonald's, go to the Hinsdale McDonald's. Those communities said to these, to these entities, you're going to have to, maybe beef up things a little, maybe
Just to clarify,
differentiate from your standard vanilla box Aldi locations.
I just wanted to clarify, because you said site plan, but you meant architectural.
Architectural,
Okay.
yeah,
Thank
that's what I meant. Is that something you would consider doing and just modifying your standard?
Yeah, and as I mentioned, I know that with our preliminary meeting, with our first concept that we brought, was much further, and Mike and John can speak on, in regards to our first concept that we brought up with staff, with our first conference call, to our first meeting, to follow-ups at this point. And I know that being lukewarm or discussing the different types of building materials, I'm open to those discussions. We do deem that this would be a very valid market for us. We know that our customer base, and I think you spoke upon it, whether you're going and traveling to Wisconsin on vacation or in your hometown, and it's one of those things where we are a niche, and we want to be as close as we can be to the other grocers, so that we can complement the fact that we don't carry everything. We are a limited assortment grocer, so you can get those different products at the best price. And then working with the community and with staff to provide a new rendering, we will definitely provide a different rendering in regards to the elevations that will incorporate a lot of different features. In our discussions the other day with staff, just to talk about those different building features that we can incorporate with our next concept, we've already initiated a lot of those discussions, and we've taken the feedback here tonight, and we will take that very serious to make sure that our next round, we do present something that will surprise you and maybe make you warm to the new building and architecture. We do take that feedback very serious.
Get rid of the gray, get rid of the brick and bring us some of the stone ideas. If you're going to do architecture, that's what I'm going to look for.
Okay.
Just a comment on Aldi in general. I don't think you need to be necessarily across the street from a Jewel or a Mariano's. People will seek you out. They know Aldi's the value play, right? So I think, for example, I drive by the Bally's. Did you ever, that's like 20-something thousand square feet. Did you look into that location? That may be a great location for you as well, because you got access to both, to the southern corridor of Vernon Hills as well. And again, people are going to go, they're going to seek you out. I don't think you need to be at, where at Greg's Landing North.
There's so many factors that come into real estate, whether it's the availability of a 20,000 square foot building,
right,
the additional tenants in that space, parking,
There's no
traffic.
tenants in Bally's.
Just in the surrounding market, but there's
Right.
so many different factors that play into site characteristics, and that's why we are pursuing this actual site itself, because it does provide the best site for our Aldi location as a ground-up project.
But just let me reassure you that the consensus is that Aldi is desired in the community, without any question.
Trustee Oppenheim.
Can you go back over the truck exit plan for me?
Absolutely. In regards to the truck exit plan, this was brought up with our first initial meetings with staff. Aldi's does have their own distribution. We do not come out of Batavia for our truck deliveries. As I mentioned, I am from the Wisconsin division out of Oak Creek, Wisconsin. So our trucks would head southbound from the Oak Creek division, going down 94 and cutting across at that point, and travel would be coming off of our site going on to Milwaukee Ave. That was something that was discussed at several different meetings with Dave in regards to safety to make sure we address that, but also with our deliveries and being a combo delivery with our warehouse shipping all of our products, cooler, freezer, dry goods, special buy, special finds. We would control those shipments. So we can have those shipments come at the time of hours that the staff or community would like us to do those deliveries. So there are a lot of things that are in our control. The only things that wouldn't be in our control that we'd have a limitation to would be vendor deliveries such as Coca-Cola or milk, but those deliveries are minimal compared to our deliveries. So on an average week, I would say with our anticipated volume with this location that we would estimate, we're talking about possibly 10 trucks per week on a good fair estimate. And majority of those trucks, 6 to 7 of them would be Aldi trucks, that we can control those deliveries and make them overnight or within a set time frame. That's something that we worked with staff and discussed. So I think that's something we can address and make sure it's taken care of.
When they're exiting the site, they're going to be going by the Chase Bank and then will all turn right? Is that the understanding onto Milwaukee Avenue to head south back towards 60? Or will any of them be turning left to go north onto Milwaukee?
So in regards to this, I believe Dave brought this up, and if Dave's preference, if you would like to answer that question, because I know we will address that to make sure it is to Dave's opinion of what's the safest route.
We're really anticipating they're coming off the tollway, they're coming down Town Line, coming into the site. I don't anticipate any of the traffic necessarily leaving by Chase Bank and going northbound. Very difficult maneuver.
Right. That was the concern.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're going to be entering off of Greg's Parkway and then making their entrance into,
Sure. Yeah, I can
into their space, backing into the loading dock, and then exiting out. But they'll probably exit out by Chase Bank, but turning right, going south onto Milwaukee,
Southbound.
heading back to.
They would go southbound.
Okay. Yeah, because it'll be impossible for them to turn left going north, those big trucks.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Trustee Schultz.
One more question as a follow-up to trustee Takaoka. Both stores that I am exceedingly familiar with, the Mundelein store, the synergy there is with Goodwill and Walgreens and a Dunkin' Donuts. There's no grocers there. And then the Stevens Point store, that's on a strip of commercial area, but it's Shippy Shoes. The biggest is Target, but it's not a super Target. There's no groceries. It's strictly the soft goods. So is this a change in philosophy then, this synergy idea?
Well, Stevens Point's near and dear to my heart. I used to actually operate that store as a district manager. And across the street from that site, there used to be a Cop's supermarket. Now, in regards to supermarkets and their...
It ain't there no more.
They are not there anymore. And in this day and age, there are a lot of retailers that are closing within, as you can see in the news. Aldi's is a grocer that's very successful and is expanding at a very accelerated rate. So that's one thing to make you feel comfortable about. And in regards to the site, that site was built in 1998. Mundelein was built in the early 2000s. We're in 2017. We've made a lot of changes as a company.
Okay.
If you go shop Mundelein, as you mentioned, you shop Stevens Point, and you shop at Stevens Point, you'll see our 6x6 German tile in that store. And at this location, we're going to have a 12x12 gray tile that's much more modern. There are a lot of differences that you'll see within Aldi's as a generational store that started in 1976. And a lot of those locations, and as a company, that's why in the Chicago Tribune today, you saw that 130 or 120 of the 150 stores within the Chicago market are being remodeled by the end of 2020. $180 million expansionary effort to remodel all of those locations. And there are a lot of efforts in regards to replacing some of those locations as well, in regards to reviewing our entire portfolio. So that is one thing that to take into consideration in regards to our location and our preference is to make sure we make a decision that's the best long-term fit for not only Aldi, but also for Vernon Hills as well, to be a location that's a good long-term fit and that we will be in for a very long time. In our Mundelein location, we are happy with that location, and we are planning on remodeling that location in 2018 with our expansionary plans within the Oak Creek division.
Well, it sounds like the consensus seems to be brick it up and stone it up from even a building material standpoint, as opposed to, what are you actually using, concrete panels?
It's using some split face.
Fiber cement siding?
So in regards to the building elevation,
Yeah.
just to run through it again real quick with you guys. Put it over here. So it is a full masonry building, and we took away the real brick to add in cementitious siding to add breaks into the masonry of the building. So when we look at the actual elevation itself, there are a lot of different building materials. So the red that you see here is the Aldi blend of brick. It's not just one color, it's a complete blend. And then the pilasters, these are all brick, which would be this accent color. This is a split-face block on the lower portion, the tan, which you'll see here. There's a sandstill, real stone.
You got any real pictures of not just this building, but, a handful of, different buildings that you've used different architectural materials and elevations?
The pictures I passed around are of these exact concepts with the hardy plank and the actual brick. In regards to incorporating different building features and material, that's something that we can discuss and revise, but those are the actual buildings of the elevation that you do see here with the aluminum composite panels, the brick features. One of those locations is in Brown Deer, Wisconsin. The other location is in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin. And two of our new locations that we recently opened in Wisconsin was in Kenosha and Lake Geneva. And I'm always welcome to have you guys join me if you would like to request to visit a new site and go through some of our architectural features. But as I mentioned, we are more than willing to work with staff and to get village comments and meet as well to discuss different types of building materials to make sure that we provide the different things that you guys have brought up here tonight.
Colors as well, shades, colors and shades, you're flexible on that as well?
Yes, absolutely.
Mayor, can I just say something?
Need to come to the microphone and state your name for the record.
I'm Steve Pagnotta from the Bradford Companies and have worked in Vernon Hills on a number of developments. If you recall what we started with Menards, and I'm looking at John, you had a retailer that wasn't as cooperative with a relatively large building. To be able to convert this building and change it collectively with the homeowners associations, with Bradford and the board, I think we could realize that goal pretty easily given what we went through with some of the other buildings. So that was my only comment. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. All right. So if this is the B, C or B plan, you got an A plan. Everybody's got an A plan. So I can't see, are the developers still here or the Aldi people still here?
Yes.
Oh, they're stuck behind the. All right, well, do we have any more comments?
Yeah, I'd like-
Okay. Doctor?
So are there larger Aldi stores, or is there only one size?
So this is our current building right now that's 19,054 square feet, which would be larger than any site in Lake County, Illinois that I oversee.
Right.
Now, there are 7.0 buildings that were built recently. I can't think of a location.
Throughout Chicagoland, the largest store to date is maybe 22,000 feet, and much of that's dictated by either existing building square footage or depths or something that had to be met. But give or take 19,000, 20,000 feet
Volvo store is expanding too, correct?
Correct. The Volo store is expanding. Stevens Point starts in July and June. Round Lake's going to start here in the month of July as well. Volo's expanding out over 3,000 square feet. The new building will be over 18,000 square feet with a sales floor almost 12,000 square feet to just meet our new future products that we're going to be adding to our stores to appeal to more customers.
That's what I'm getting at. Do you think there's any chance that you would want to expand further beyond that size, even though all your stores are already
In
built
regards
that
to the
size?
building itself, right now, with the way the building is positioned, this is the building that we are pursuing. It meets our requirements. This is what we're pursuing. In regards to 20 years from now, I can't speak on behalf of the company direction, but I can say that in regards to the site, there are limitations with this site. In regards to the setbacks, the
And then-
building is positioned with the site plan on the setback lines. There's a detention pond with a retaining wall, so there are very limited options within this space.
You certainly would be landlocked there from any expansion. I was just sort of getting at some of the other buildings that we do have available that are a bit larger, that if there were buildings of yours across the country that use that type of space, then we would be interested in looking into that, but it sounds as though that's not really what you're looking at.
Correct.
Okay, we got one more item on the agenda. Pat, can you give the speech to the petitioner here?
Yes, sir. You've heard the comments and the input of the Committee of the Whole. As with all applicants, you're proceeding at your own risk. The Committee of the Whole and the Village Board reserve the right to add additional conditions and/or approve or deny this project in whole. So, thank you.
Thank you all.
Okay. All right, next is Huntington Drive, Greg's Parkway intersection study. Dave?
Thank you very much. So, there's been prior discussions as far as this intersection. We wanted to talk to you about Greg's Parkway and Huntington Drive. We also have included $100,000 in the current fiscal year budget to affect some change at this intersection. So with us today is Jim Woods from Civil Tech Engineering. He's done some analysis of this intersection, looked at a number of alternatives, and Jim wanted to present that to you, and then we wanted to have a discussion. We all understand, as far as the three-party agreement with between Zale, the village, and the county, ultimately, whatever plan we come up with, if it impacts the capacity of Greg's Parkway or Huntington, we are required by that agreement to go back and have the county approve that, or at least seek their concurrence before we implement any changes like that. But Jim Woods is here, and he'll present the information.
Yes, thank you, David. Good evening, President Byrne, trustees. Again, my name is Jim Woods. I'm with Civil Tech Engineering. We're out of Itasca, Illinois. I'm a highway and traffic engineer, and I've been in business for about 20 years. Civil Tech has had the pleasure of working with the village for many years now, and we do appreciate these opportunities. So the first thing I'd like to do is show you an existing conditions aerial photograph. I'm sorry, I don't have the ability to necessarily zoom in really well here, but I think most of us are familiar with this location. This is Greg's Parkway, runs east-west in this location. This is Huntington Drive, runs north-south. Huntington is the connection that goes over to Butterfield Road, up, which runs north-south to that direction. It's kind of an odd angle here, but Greg's Parkway and Huntington are both two-lane roadways that have speed limits of 30 miles per hour. So what I'd like to do is just give you an overview of the scope of our study, run through the alternatives that we looked at, and then I'd be happy to answer questions that you have. Again, this is unsignalized. Right now, there's no signal. It's a T intersection. The stop sign, there's one stop sign. It's on Huntington Drive right here. Greg's Parkway is free flow in these directions. These are both residential collector streets. Greg's Parkway has, and I wish I could zoom in, but has a separate right turn lane here to go northbound. Greg's Parkway has a left turn lane this way, also to go northbound, and then Huntington has both left and right turn lanes in this location. Go down here. To give you an idea of some of the traffic volumes along Greggs and Huntington, the east leg on Greggs Parkway sees about 11,000 cars per day, and then Huntington and the west leg of Greggs both experience about 5,700 vehicles per day on a typical weekday. One of the major movements at this intersection is this movement, the westbound to northbound in the morning sees about 450 cars in the peak hour, and then the converse is true in the PM peak hour. We see about 450 cars coming back in the other direction. So the traffic is very highly directional at this intersection. This is one of the biggest movements in that location. We did a crash analysis at this location. We looked back at the past 5 years. What are the crash patterns? How many crashes have happened on a yearly basis? What types of crashes? Over the past 5 years, actually the 5 years between 2011 and 2015, there have been a total of 12 crashes at this intersection, anywhere from 1 to 4 per year. Most of the crashes are right angles and rear ends. It's a relatively low number of crashes for an intersection of this type. The one crash that I think many of us are aware of, back in 2013, I believe, there was a pedestrian struck that was walking southbound, or actually jogging southbound here across Huntington Drive, and a southbound to eastbound left turner struck that pedestrian, as I believe it was as she was jogging toward the south. It wasn't a significant injury, but thank goodness.
Well, let me stop you there. I'm watching
I'll stop you there too.
your notes here. Free flow movements and overall are not calculated for minor leg stop controlled intersection. I don't think she considered her injury minor.
I shouldn't. Let me rephrase that. There's a scale.
Well, she didn't die, but she's still recovering from it several years later.
Okay, and I don't have all the information, so I apologize. I'm going by the scale that crashes are rated on, right. A, B, C. Hers was rated a B. A is a incapacitating injury that you can't walk away from. So I apologize if I've misrepresented that crash in any way. But at the request of the village, we looked at a number of different intersection options here to improve pedestrian safety and not affect the operation of the intersection from a traffic perspective too significantly. So I want to run through all these very quickly. I know it's getting late here. We looked at 6 alternatives. The first was removing the westbound and northbound Huntington right turn lane. Second one, we looked at a pedestrian refuge island on the east leg of the intersection, and I'll show you pictures of each one of these. We looked at moving the marked crosswalk to the other legs. We looked at an all-way stop sign at this location. We looked at a traffic signal and also a compact urban roundabout. So I want to flip through these, I guess, as quickly as possible. The first concept, like I said, it involved removing this right turn lane and reestablishing that to turf grass. The goal here was to try to reduce the length of the crosswalk that the pedestrian would have to cross. It reduces the exposure to vehicles. That was the goal anyway, but when we got down to it, it turns out this alternative really only shaved off about 5 feet from the crosswalk at that location due to the need for this radius here to accommodate the design vehicle. So that was the improvement for this scenario. On the other 2 legs, all we're showing there is just refreshing the striping in most of these alternatives. Second alternative was the conversion of, right now there's a painted flush median on this east leg of the intersection. What this alternative would do is convert that to a barrier median, and then we would move this crosswalk over to the east a little bit and run it through that barrier median. And what that does is gives us a small, what we would call a refuge area. Some of the other advantages of this one is it gives this left-turning motorist more of a target. It commands that motorist's attention and says, look, there's a barrier median, so they're looking that way, and it brings their sight lines toward where the pedestrians would be crossing. Another alternative looked at relocating the crosswalks from this leg over to these two legs. Without getting into too much detail here, we ended up looking at this one as kind of a wash. The idea was that we would move the crosswalk to the location where the vehicles are stopping, but then you still have to get to this side of Greg's. We bring basically end up with a longer pedestrian, more exposure to vehicles, even though this leg is a lot less traffic than this one. So looked at this one as kind of a wash. The always stop control was another alternative that we looked at here. Let me get to my notes. This was the fourth concept. This alternative would add stop signs to the Greg's Parkway approaches in addition to the existing stop sign that's on the Huntington leg, with the goal of improving pedestrian safety and visibility. Now, always stop signs should only be installed if they meet the range of criteria contained in the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices. That's the nationwide document. It defines the standards to install and maintain traffic control devices on all public roadways. Unfortunately, for those who might support that concept, none of the criteria for the installation of always stop signs were met. We did do a previous study back in 2014, and one of the criteria was very narrowly met. Now, the traffic really hasn't changed too much, so it's right on the cusp of those criteria. And as traffic engineers, we always like to stress that stop signs shouldn't be installed where they're not warranted. And the main reason for that is when the unwarranted stop signs are installed, motorists will perceive that there is no need. They'll say, why is this stop sign here? It can lead to disrespect for the signs and ultimately leading to safety problems where stop signs are truly warranted. So as traffic engineers, we like to try to defend the integrity of the stop sign and really any traffic control device.
What's the leading case of it?
I'm sorry?
Leading court case of it?
I am not an attorney.
Yeah.
The leading court case.
Yeah, sure. Neil Hardigan? Remember him?
I do.
I think he's the one that came up with the whole warrant idea because of, you put one every, 100 feet or something like that. But I thought it was, and I think it went, maybe he was the he was the Attorney General for Illinois. And I think, he rendered an opinion on warrants,
Yeah, I mean, it's a nationwide standard, and they're there for reasons. I mean, as you said, if there's a stop sign every 100 feet,
right,
people will disregard them.
Well,
it becomes an enforcement problem for the law enforcement officials.
Is that true, Chief?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Because there's plenty of places in my own community where they've put stop signs like on every corner, and people just ignore them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I kind of glossed over. We did do cost estimates for these. The first one, removal of the right turn lane, was about $50,000 to construct. The pedestrian barrier median was about $50,000, just to give you a feel. Relocating the crosswalks is very inexpensive. The always stop sign control is in the $20,000 to $25,000 range. I can answer more questions on those maybe after we get through these other two. And the other one we looked at was the traffic signal installation. This is the fifth of the six concepts we looked at. Everybody knows what a traffic signal is. We would install that equipment on all four corners here, or all three legs. This one would require some additional infrastructure due to the curvature here, so we would need some additional signal heads because of the very tight curvature here, so people will see those signals as they come around the corner. Similar to always stops, traffic signals must also meet one or more of the warrants as listed in the MUTCD before a signal is considered. Here, unlike the stop control, the traffic signal volume warrants are narrowly met at this intersection. So we could consider the installation of a traffic signal at this location, but just because it meets the warrants doesn't mean you have to install a signal. You have to consider all kinds of other factors. A traffic signal would improve the pedestrian accommodations because there would be push buttons for them to allow them to cross the street. Now, they would have to abide by those signals, so they would, if they came up and it was, saying no, there would be some delay for the pedestrian. So the other consideration is traffic signals aren't always considered the best solution from a residential neighborhood character standpoint. Some of these signal pieces of equipment would be 50 feet from this person's house right here. So it's just something to consider in that location. The cost for a signal is relatively high. It's in the $400,000 to $425,000 range, plus ongoing maintenance and energy costs. The final concept we looked at is it's called a compact urban roundabout. It's kind of it's becoming more popular, still fairly unique, but they are popping up around Lake County. Lake County DOT is starting to install these at several locations. This alternative would replace the stop sign control with what you see here, a roundabout. And one thing here is that it looks like a lot of pavement, but it would actually reduce the overall pavement area because this right turn lane would be coming out in this alternative. In this scenario, the crosswalk would be placed on this leg, and they would have the luxury of another barrier median here. It's called a splitter island. So there would be a refuge area here. Another thing, this benefit here is that the person coming from Huntington, making the left turn, is required to come around the loop here, and then the crosswalk is in plain sight of them instead of having to look to the left. So it's a pedestrian safety improvement here. So this alternative would also come at a relatively high construction cost, probably about $625,000, but it wouldn't have the ongoing energy costs of the traffic signal. So that pretty much concludes an overview of all the concepts we investigated after we considered all the pros and cons. We worked with staff and talked with Dave. We've recommended that the pedestrian refuge median installation might be the best alternative at this point, based on the reasons mentioned earlier. That concept, again, it reduces the pedestrian crossing distances, it improves the visibility by calling the motorist attention to that crossing area. That actually exists elsewhere in the Greg's Landing subdivision, that kind of concept. I know there's some residents here. I think at St. Andrews intersection, and I think there's another one at Broadmoor where you have a mill area too. Yeah. So it does exist. There's familiarity with that concept, and it comes at a relatively low cost compared to many of the other alternatives. So that's
well. Plus,
kind of
there still would be the pedestrian, signs that you should stop.
Yes.
Yeah, you should. Well,
are you talking with the refuge island alternative that I was talking
Well,
about?
I mean, you'd still have those signs.
Absolutely.
Pedestrian crossing.
Yeah.
I happen to cross Deer Path quite a bit now because, my granddaughter lives about a block away, and, a lot of people are very good. I mean, I haven't really had anybody, but I don't necessarily cross if there's cars coming, but, when there has been something, coming around the curve from the north on Deer Path, people are respectful and have stopped.
People are becoming more and more cognizant of, the signage is improved. There's actually, I was looking at, there's one right out there. It's got the big, fluorescent green. It's got, you must stop for pedestrians in the crosswalk. It's got the arrow pointing down.
Yeah,
and I believe those have been.
Hopefully people are getting acclimated to them, and I think they are, but that doesn't mean you're going to totally ever prevent any accident, if somebody.
Absolutely, there's.
How about the crackpot that was doing 135 miles an hour and he,
I saw
he
that.
killed 3 people, okay. Yeah, I got a Mercedes. I got to see what it can do, Okay, well, anyway, trustee Schultz.
I'm all in favor of going forward with the refuge, the pedestrian refuge barrier median.
Yeah.
I'm still of a mindset, though, that a stop sign, for a multitude of reasons, not all of them being in accordance with yours, but ancillary outcomes, cause and effect,
Yeah.
is a desirable thing. And I was looking through your numbers, and you were talking about the 30-second criteria. You wouldn't want people to wait longer, and yet during that key AM period, you're at a 43-second actual wait time, and that's where the problem lies. Because even right now, in fact, I was online, I was on the Comcast site, and I wanted to see a news item, but before I could get to the news item, I had a 30-second commercial I had to sit through. Yeah. I hardly ever respond, but I hit the button that said, would you like to comment about this? And my comment was, yeah, my attention span is no longer than 15 seconds for this. Right. I want to get to what I really wanted to listen to, not a commercial for the Jeep Chrysler dealer in Volo or wherever he's at. Yeah. So with that being said, our attention spans are really diminishing, and our need for immediate gratification is requiring such that we need to mitigate barriers. And I really believe that with the stop sign, we'd create a staging and an expectation that I'll be the next one to move, and I'll move within X number of seconds, and it's limited to 4 or 5 seconds or whatever. And so I really believe that a stop sign in this particular circumstance, because of the high volume during that peak period and the pedestrian crossing there, one of the real key pedestrian crossing points through that whole area, plus the underlying providing some speed control, but we won't say that.
Yeah, I'm not listening.
Anyway, the barrier, absolutely, moving the crosswalk. I'm still in favor, seeing as how at a certain point it seems like a stop sign is quasi-justified, and it's fully justified because of these other mitigating factors that I've been talking about here. So I'd like to move forward with something, and I'll be prepared to be chastised by Dave for suggesting the stop sign in addition to the barrier median. That's it.
Sure. And maybe speaking to short attention spans, it's been a long evening, so I'll be brief. Yeah, exactly. So, yes, and maybe a quick history. We've had discussions on some of these options with Greg's Landing Homeowners Association, with Don and the fellow board members. Traffic signal, we don't think a traffic signal, although it's warranted, we don't think we should put one here. The first one that should go in is at Lakeview. We're not putting one in until we have a lot more traffic counts and more discussions. A roundabout, we shouldn't move forward with a roundabout. Really, what are we trying to address? We've heard from different residents. In fact, I was talking to a resident just this morning who was walking yesterday, and he's seen someone crossing. Almost a similar incident to the lady you've discussed with before. They crossed, so westbound traffic leading up to this intersection stopped, and it was the eastbound traffic that just went straight past. She's in the stripe median. So I agree with your comment in terms of the refuge barrier median. It's a shorter crossing from the north side of Greg's Parkway. They only have to look in one direction. They can get to a safe location, stand in the concrete median, and then extend across. It also includes a light. We've talked previously in terms of this intersection isn't well lit. We think this extra light will serve some great value. It would be identical to the existing Greg's Landing style lights and what we have here on Evergreen. It would be a dual globe system. So I agree with that. Obviously, I think that I, as a professional, I have to say we should follow the MUTCD. We all understand we have to go and have a discussion with LDOT. Ultimately, they're going to give us some feedback on that. We can move, if the board agrees, we can move forward with this one, have a discussion with LDOT, report back to about the three-way stop, have that conversation, respond back to the board, tell you how the meeting went. But if we can get some consensus generally where we should go, then we're ready to meet with LDOT. We can have those discussions.
Yeah, one other point, just that your accident history only went through 2015, so it didn't include, how many times did the pedestal sign get whacked in 2016, 2017?
The one in the middle of the.
Yeah.
Oh, sure, yeah.
How many?
But the
At
second
least-
day it was up.
Yeah, that was the first time, but
Yeah.
I believe it's been hit subsequently.
It looks like it's been hit quite a few times.
Yeah.
I don't know how many.
Yeah, so take that for what that's worth.
Yeah.
Because, again, it gets back to that 43-second wait, lack of attention span.
Yeah.
People, when they get their chance, when they see that there's a big bam, they're hitting the gas and they're squealing around.
Can we put up, what is it, the delineators?
Delineators,
The in-road pedestrian.
Well, the ones that are at the railroad crossings. I mean, what would that
They
do?
got whacked this weekend.
You'd have to take a lot of them out, though, you know?
Took 3 out.
It would do some damage to your car, I would think, if you hit enough of them.
Yeah,
Yeah, with the always stop, what it does is basically acts like a traffic signal that gives 50% of the green time to each leg. It basically splits it's like a balloon. Like you said, the 43 seconds on Huntington would be improved.
Right.
Stop sign. It would make it easier to make a left turn
Yep.
into the development, whereas it would make.
Which may promote more cut-through traffic off of Butterfield Road in the morning, which is one of the concerns that we're trying to address.
I find that, I mean, most of this traffic is generated because they're avoiding going down the extra, whatever, quarter mile, half mile down the
Absolutely.
grades.
Absolutely.
So, you know,
The concern that I would have, and I haven't heard it addressed here, and so maybe I'm wrong, but if you've got 11,000 vehicles going westbound, if everyone has to stop at that intersection at North Huntington, traffic, in my opinion, is going to back up at certain times to cross Beaver Creek, and people aren't going to get out of their street because no one's going to let them out. And you have the same thing with Royal Burkdale, although there's not as many cars there.
yeah, although we're getting that level of volume through Lakeview, right?
Yeah, but you don't have a street being blocked off by the traffic
Right.
going through there. Because Beaver Creek is really close to Huntington.
Right.
North Huntington, or
It
Huntington
is.
Drive
We
North.
we can look at what the queuing would be there with the stop sign.
Yeah, in my opinion, with that many vehicles and they're all going westbound, you're gonna have a big backup there at certain times. And those
Well,
people may
that
be
might
waiting
make it
45
easier.
seconds to make a right turn.
Yeah, but it might make it easier. If traffic is backed up, you can then nose in. I mean, you'll probably get
You'll get more than that.
but. I
Thank you,
guess
Chet.
The point I'm getting to is that you're not gonna have to jump on it to get into the flow. I don't know. Again, you know, I'm just going from a visceral standpoint here and not necessarily from an engineered standpoint.
And Trustee Schultz, ultimately, if that's the direction of the board, again, we will have that conversation with LDOT. We can report back to you.
Okay, trustee Oppenheim.
First of all,
I'm talking to gentleman right there.
I'm sorry.
First of all, thank you for your
Come up,
efforts
yeah.
and your presentation, and I would like to mention that I'm a personal friend of the young lady who got hit, and it was not a small injury, and I also want to mention that she commented, Trustee Schultz, she appreciated your efforts in getting that light put in, because that seemed to be a big effort for her. The pedestal, right, the pedestal.
Again, I apologize for that.
No,
There was
and, yeah, I just wanted to point that out. But we spent a half an hour talking about this last night, about what options there were for pedestrians and what she felt was best as the one who was primarily affected. And it seemed to be that the refuge barrier median seemed to fulfill many of the of the needs. At first, I was thinking the roundabout might be a good idea for various reasons, but not only is it very expensive, but it also seems like it'll encourage a lot more traffic coming through quickly. I'm not a traffic engineer, but in some ways
It does have probably the best traffic operation, and they are very efficient.
they're very efficient, but
They're very
that
efficient.
efficiency might actually encourage more traffic from Butterfield coming through. Just more and faster. So at first I was encouraged by that, but I don't think so. I'm curious, you said that it didn't meet requirements for the stop sign under the current study. How far off was it compared to the last study? And secondly, do you think the increased traffic once Menards is completed and the other shops are completed, will it meet criteria at that point?
You know, to answer your second question first, there's nothing saying you couldn't do a quick count. You know, say you went forward with this barrier alternative, it doesn't rule out putting a stop sign in.
Stop sign in addition,
As it,
right.
you know, down the road. So you can always do, you know, a quick count. It wouldn't have to be a big study like this. We could put cameras out there, get the traffic count done, and do a quick check of the warrants. How far are we?
I mean, we said we were barely making it before. Now we're not. I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking 20 cars. I mean,
That was one of the, it's kind of hard to explain. It's one of those, it's called a combination warrant that it met before.
Uh-huh.
It's like if you combine parts of this one and parts of this one and take
Yeah.
70% of this, so it's kind of hard to
give an
explain
easy
that one,
number,
but the main volume warrant requires that you have 300 vehicles per day on the main, 300 vehicles per hour on the main route for 8 hours, and 200 vehicles per hour on the Huntington Lake for 8 hours. Greg's has the required 300 for, I think, 14 hours of the day. Huntington only has the 200 threshold, I think, for 3 hours of the day. So that would require another 5 hours of 200 cars per hour on Huntington. Did I explain that properly?
yeah. So how close were they to that 200? I mean, were we at 196 and we just didn't?
I don't have all those specific, I can find that out for you here.
I was just wondering if we're close to meeting that. It just didn't.
I don't
quite
think,
make the-
I think it would take quite a bit to get 5
so-
more hours of 200
So
cars per hour.
why did it meet it in the previous study then?
Yeah, I have to look into that. So that was, what I just explained was criterion number 1, the
Okay.
basic volume criterion. There are other criteria, and I apologize, I don't have the best answer for you, but
I just don't understand what changed, because there can't be less traffic now than there was when you did the.
no, the traffic patterns are very similar, and if
Okay.
I'd be
All right.
happy to find that answer.
We can look at that later, but.
Yeah. Make a note of that.
For a later time,
Yeah.
but for now, I'm all in favor of this barrier median.
Well, you probably should bring this back when? If we're gonna go with the barrier median, if everybody's weighed in on this.
I was wondering if, I think you had called him up to speak.
State your name for the record, please.
Good evening. There, does that work?
That's the other one, I guess. Yeah.
Does it work? One of them, this one works.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. I just get it a little closer. Good evening, Mayor, trustees, staff. For the record, my name is Kevin Borgard. I live at 1871 Turtle Bay in Greg's Landing. I'm speaking as an individual, even though I'm also on the HOA board. I did read the study, and I also I met with Paula Trigg and went over all these different options. Well, not all these options, but I got a really good understanding. We pulled out the 1,000-page agreement, not counting all the exhibits, and went through all the things that basically it's an unrestricted truck route, and they won't approve anything that doesn't meet the warrants. And so, at least as of right now, they don't want the stop signs. They don't want, and I don't think anyone wants a traffic signal. The good news is, I think, in reading everything, that what Trustee Schultz said, what David Brown said, and is that for the most part, I agree. What I want to throw out one minor modification, though. I think the refuge barrier makes sense. There was another option, I forget if it was the first or the second one, that took away the right turn lane. If you did both, that actually does two things. One, it shortens the distance even further. And then the one thing, there is one other problem in Greg's Landing that hasn't been pointed out. In fact, I think it's the worst. I know people who live there, so I use the mouse. Right here on Beaver Creek Drive, you have, at the peak hour, you have, roughly 600 cars going this way, 600 cars come this way, and then here's 1,200 cars. What happens is the cars start separating here, and so you have a backup here on Huntington because all the people who are turning right, you don't really know if they're going to turn right, so they back up. The ones that are going straight, and then when they finally see all these people end, then all of a sudden you still have all these people going through. So all of a sudden these people, they queue up, and then when there finally is a break for people to turn left out of Beaver Creek, these people turn right in behind the last one coming eastbound on Greg's Parkway, and by the time that queue finishes, there's already more people coming this way, and I've been in there where it takes over 5 minutes to come out. And so if you limit this to one lane here, you have the divided median. I think it would improve this somewhat. Doesn't totally solve it. But so I like combining two of those options, getting rid of the right turn lane. It will slow people down a little bit because right now they slow down 3 or 5 miles an hour to turn right, and the ones that are going straight just keep going at their. So, but if you combine both of those, I would at least like that to be looked at, and that's basically what I have to say.
Yeah, okay, well, and we know what that'll cost, or we don't know yet.
We do.
To do both?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what would be needed in the budget?
So currently, we have $100,000 in this budget.
Right.
Whether it's this combination, or whether it's a three-way stop, or whether it's the pedestrian refuge barrier.
Right.
We have enough money to accomplish this. I think where we need to head is really have these discussions with LDOT. Answering Kevin's comment, that is something that we've considered. We want to have more discussions. The balancing point is, if you eliminate that right turn lane, there's some very good positive things that would happen. It's a shorter crossing. It also, some of the accidents that we've seen, and I think, John, you followed up after an accident, but what was happening is someone's taking a right turn, big moving van, they couldn't see, and then someone else pulled out and an accident happened. Having the one lane would be positive in that fashion. One of the things we want to balance with that is exactly what the chief was talking about. If it's down to one lane, is that starting to back things up and impacting Beaver Creek? So that's one of the balances we need to do. That's something that Civil Tech will be charged with looking at that, and what's the stacking and what's the impact of Beaver Creek. But I concur with what Kevin just said. But we do have enough money to affect the change.
So at this juncture, though, we're looking at 3 possible alternatives, so that gives you I assume you're looking for direction here. So the first is, we need to try and pursue the pedestrian refuge barrier median. The second would be, I'm still in favor of, let's present it to Lake County and provide all the data as best we can concerning a 3-way stop. And then the last would be a combination of the barrier median with elimination of the right turn lane.
Yes, sir.
And Dave, just going back in time here, do they have any responsibility for the maintenance of those 2 roads?
None.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought, yeah. But I mean, I know we had to enter into the agreement to get it going.
We did get water and sewer.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah. It's a story unto itself. Chet, this is gonna be the last question. We gotta go to closed
As you're
session.
talking budget, David mentioned a very
Yeah.
important thing. Now that you have the refuge island, you have room there in that island for a street light, the Greg's Landing type of street light.
Yeah.
Before you did not have it. So add that to your budget.
It's in there, and that would be
Yeah.
included. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
That was already mentioned, wasn't
Yeah.
It's okay.
Okay. And this will come back, obviously, at a later date.
It will be, our target is to get through this quickly and try to report back to the board in about 30 days.
Okay.
Plus or minus.
Okay. Okay, there's nothing else on the committee of the whole. Is there a motion to adjourn, go into closed session? We will not come out and discuss anything after closed session. It's personnel, litigation, what else? Land acquisition?
Land acquisition.
Yeah.
Is it all three?
Pending litigation pursuant to 2C11 of the Open Meetings Act for personnel, 2C1 of the Open Meetings Act for acquisition of property, 2C5 of the
All
Open
right.
Meetings Act, and minutes 2C21 of the Open Meetings Act.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion is second, roll call.
Trustee Takaoka?
Aye.
Trustee Hebda?
Aye.
Trustee Schultz?
Aye.
Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Cook? Trustee Oppenheim?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you and good night.